Hey, hey, hey. What is going on, guys? Happy Wednesday. Welcome, everybody, to the Wednesday night live stream. So, I decided I'm going to try something a little bit different today. Kayvon Torandaz, welcome, welcome. Broke Budget Reef, welcome, welcome. So, I decided to do a bit of a random one. Full disclosure, it was actually my birthday yesterday, so Brandaz, welcome, welcome. Broke Budget Reef. There we go. So actually yesterday was my birthday, so it's been a crazy busy week, and I haven't really prepped much, and I figured I'd get a lot of random questions, so it'd be kind of fun to do a bit of a random Q&A. I have my tank on the iPad just kind of joined into the Hangout, so I'm gonna go do that. If anyone has any specific questions, or I don't know, probably do a bit of a tank update while we're at it. Should be good. What's going on, Sean? Steen, welcome, guys, welcome. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Hopefully everyone's having a wonderful week. Exclusive Reef, what's going on? Aussie Dan, new subscriber from Australia. Aussie Dan, welcome, my friend. Thank you. Appreciate you subscribing. Tomer Levi, yo, how are you doing? Mark Cawthorn. Hey, Mark. Mark, you changed your YouTube name, didn't you? So how are you guys doing? Wonderful Wednesday. Excellent. Hammy L. Thank you, sir. Much appreciated. How's everyone? The Shootsman. I'm doing awesome. How do you run your flow? We are going to go through that in a few minutes. And I actually did change it, so that's a perfect question, because I changed it like 2 days ago, and I still got to finish tweaking it. So, sent them all over. Reef Community Worldwide. Thank you, sir. Much appreciated. I'm going to drop the Hangout links if anyone wants to come and chat with me. So drop that in there, so feel free to hop on. So another random fun excitingness. I played laser tag yesterday for the first time in probably like 8 years. It was actually pretty fun. So that was my excitement, running around and out for food and stuff. That was pretty good. Welcome, guys. Welcome.
Hello.
How are you doing this wonderful evening?
All good.
Excellent. Anything exciting happening with you today?
No.
No? Fair enough.
No.
Hi from Cincinnati. Hey, Nasal Tang. Exclusive Reef. Welcome, welcome. Haley. Good evening, good evening. Everyone's slowly rolling in. Oh, I have a quick question for you guys. I changed the way I scheduled the event. Nick, you can never log in. Did you guys get a notification saying that there was a live stream?
I haven't yet.
No? Okay.
I know Nick did.
Okay. Because I normally schedule it as an event, and this one I just did the live one and put a later start date, so I've been back and I don't know, trying to see if there's any difference in it. But
Well, I know the other day, Narcosis, when he did one, he was up 15 minutes before anyone got the notifications.
Oh, really, eh? Yeah, it's interesting how it works. I try and tweak something a little bit each time just to slowly figure out how it all works. Shootsman got stung by a bee. That's no fun. Jamie, yes. In Israel, today is a holiday, so we drink. In short, happy. Happy holiday. What's the holiday in Israel? This is the day after my birthday holiday. Does that count as a holiday? I claim it birthday week, though, so. Easily forgotten.
I know Germany's just had a bank holiday, like an holiday. So that's why all the tribes.
How long have you had that powder blue tang, ReefDudes?
Exclusive Reef just described. Thanks, Exclusive Reef. I have had him about a week now, actually. A little over a week.
Can you give us your story on him? How did you acclimate him? Where'd you get him from? How did he act when you first got him?
I sure can.
Give us a little detailed story.
All right, detailed story. So I've always loved powder blue tangs, but I'd never actually added one. Just because I'm like, hey, I already have a Hypo tang, I have the yellow tang, so you can kind of see him in the background. The video's a bit shoddy, it's just off my iPad. But so I've wanted one, but I'm like, hey, I already have a Hypo tang. Maybe if I ever lose him for some reason, then maybe I'll look at getting a powder blue. Hello from London, UK. Welcome, Gerald. Okay, so I've always wanted one. I had a buddy that was shutting down a tank, and he's like, oh, you know, are you interested? I'm like, oh, I don't know if I should. I mean, I'd love one. Hey, Woody. So I'm just like, well, if you want to sell it, post it in, you know, our local group. And if you can, or you want to give them away, then, you know, let me know, try it. So that's kind of how it started. And then I didn't hear back from him. And then I'm out at like an entrepreneurial kind of social event thing. And I got a text message being like, "Oh, I'm by your house. I have all the fish in a bucket." I'm like, "Okay." So I had to run home, and I literally had a 5-gallon bucket with a hippo tang, the powder blue, a giant red chorus wrasse, and a couple other smaller damsels. So like literally showed up on my doorstep. So that's kind of how I adopted a powder blue tang. So he's a really cool fish. I do really like the guy. I think he's super cool. So I'm stoked to have him now. When I first added him, the yellow tang was being a bit of a bugger. So he was being a bug. Oh, for acclimating. So sorry, start out there. So what I did, kind of like essentially a drip. I had a measuring cup. Then every 5-10 minutes, I'd take a scoop out of the tank and dump it in the bucket. Scoop it to the tank, dump it in the bucket every 5 or 10 minutes. And then once I had, the bucket was getting pretty full, then I'd suck some out with the hose just because I had a bunch of other detritus and stuff floating around in there. So I did that for, a good hour and a bit until the water was, for the most part, 100% replaced. And after that, I kind of just plopped him into the tank. That's kind of how I acclimated him to the tank. And at first, when I added him, the yellow tang was being very aggressive. He was being a punk and tail slapping him and kind of harassing him. So what I did for that guy was I'd use kind of the mirror trick, which has been worked really well. The tank was literally obsessed with his own reflection. Most tangs especially with the males, it's always kind of that dominant kind of hierarchy, and they all want to be, top dog of the tank. So they're going to be more likely to fight their own than to fight a different fish. So with putting the mirror on the side of the tank, he literally was trying to tail slap the glass for the rest of the evening. So I did that. I took it off the next day, and they're perfectly fine. Didn't harass them at all. But the important thing is just, making sure the new fish has time to settle in before he gets too harassed. So that was kind of the biggest thing. And now, I mean, there's no issues whatsoever. You can kind of see the blurry tangs in the background. They're all swimming around each other. Could care less. So it's been awesome. But the thing that still makes me laugh, I was worried about the hippo tang and the powder blue, and they've been no issue whatsoever. They haven't even paid attention to each other. So it's been great.
So you did not do the pop and drop method, right?
I popped after acclimating the water for a while.
Narcosis has a method named after him now.
Yeah, narcosis method.
Pop and drop.
he literally takes them out of the bag. They come, takes them out of the bag, and put them right in the tank. Pop open the bag, put them in the tank. Hence the name pop and drop.
Right.
Yeah.
Literally.
Nice. So I haven't quite done that. I try and do at least, float it for a bit, then I'll try and mix some of the water. At least half of it, I try and 50-50 mix it. Stain in the comments in the chat was just asking about, got a bunch of copepods, does he have to acclimate them? He ordered extra by accident. As long as they're temperatures, you should be fine. If you're really worried, you can check the salinity and see if there's a big difference between the two. But as long as it's reasonably similar, you should be pretty easy. I mean, I've honestly never acclimated or tested the salinity or anything with the copepods. I've never really had an issue.
So I am expecting a shipment of fish from Live Aquaria on Friday. Wednesday, Friday.
What did you get?
The green wrasse, a lot of the stuff that CJ was showing off on his live stream that the wife liked. So
your wife liked it too?
A couple of wrasses. I think I talked her out of the bannerfish, so I think I'm safe there. But I am basically going to do tank transfer method and then maybe a couple more days of medication. But to me, that's kind of the best method for me, especially getting fish from a unknown source that could have ick.
Right.
So yeah, that's it's going to be a lot of work. It's a lot of salt water. I'm already mixing salt water, so I'm going to have to do 5-gallon buckets, change every day. But it's I have a mature, fully stocked tank. I can't afford to. This doesn't guarantee that you're not going to introduce disease, but I'm doing everything within reason to ensure that I don't introduce. If I was getting it from a reefer I trust or someone, maybe I wouldn't have gone through the full thing. But from Live Aquaria, you never know. So that's what I'm doing.
That should be good. That'd be exciting to get a bunch of new goodies. So your wife liked the same fish as CJ's wife? That's how you decided?
No, so CJ, I think the last time he live streamed, he was showing off, he had a green chorus wrasse, a bluehead wrasse, and a couple other fish. And then I took the chance, to add on some goodies like some feather dusters and some cleanup crew. I am moving away from crabs for cleanup crew because they're too much work. So now I'm just restocking snails and stuff like that.
That's fair. I mean, a lot of the crabs I've actually found are a bit of a bugger. My biggest pain in the butts right now are actually both my shrimp, the fire shrimp. Those little buggers constantly go steal food from corals. But in the chat, just before it scrolls away, someone's asking how I deal with ick in my system. I've honestly never dealt with it in saltwater. I've never had the issue. In saltwater, with like back in the neon tetras and stuff, I did get it back at that time. But with saltwater, I haven't had it. But when I buy fish, I'm also I've never ordered fish online. I've only ever bought them in person. So I will sit there and stare at them for 20, 30 minutes and make sure there's no specks or dots or anything on it. Make sure the eyes aren't cloudy. Make sure there's no like liaisons or cuts or bruises and that type of stuff. So I just try and make sure I buy really healthy fish to start with. And so far, so good. And even my powder blue, which showed up my doorstep, like he was big and fat and healthy and acclimated, and distracted the tang for the first day so he doesn't get too harassed. And same thing, not a spot on him. He's been perfect. So I mean, could be knock on wood. I could just be lucky, but I've never really had an issue with it. So far, so good.
6 years in the hobby, I've never had ick either. A lot of it is luck, but the last couple of years, I think I buy my fish from Manhattan Aquariums or Absolutely Fish, two fish stores I trust. And whenever I get them I order fish online. I use Vivid Aquariums and I use Live Aquaria.
Yep.
I always do tank transfer method. I always do tank transfer method. If I'm getting tanks, tank transfer method, and then up to a week of observation. But I can't, like I said, I can't afford right now. I can't afford to have a fully stocked tank. I can't afford to.
I keep telling myself the same thing. Yeah, I know what you mean. If I was ordering them online, I would be a lot more cautious to do it, especially because they're in a box being shipped overnight. There's a lot more stress as they're getting banged around and stuff. I would be much more inclined to quarantine. So I think it can be a good idea. I also have a little bit of mixed opinions on it because I think providing there's no visible signs, like yes, there's still a percentage of a chance it could have something. But I also think you're stressing out the fish a lot more by transferring them from place to place and recatching them.
You're absolutely right, because there's a higher loss percentage. There's a higher loss percentage on tank transfer method fish than, it's pretty tough on the fish. But anything that comes out, I'm confident that it'll be disease free. But you're right. But that's why I do it from like Live Aquaria and places that offer a guarantee. So it's really low risk.
Joanne's asking, has anyone done Hypo Salinity in their quarantine? I'm trying it for the first time this go around. Love to hear this experience. So have any of you guys tried it?
I've quarantined fish under Hypo Salinity before.
Yeah, did it work out well, or was there any issues? Or
yeah, it's a standard because we do a distribution of livestock, right? So it's a standard procedure that you do it.
Okay.
So if you're asking if it works or not, then yeah, that's why we used to do it.
Okay, I've heard lots of shops doing it, but I've never tried it personally.
Yeah, it's harder because you've got to remember that the shops are generally either importing it directly from the source or they're getting it from a trade wholesaler that may already be running the fish in Hypo whilst they're with them. So obviously they want to minimize the losses of fish while they've got them before they go to the shop. So my the guys I got a shipment through from Denmark, which is one of the largest European wholesalers, they run Hypo on all their tanks. So you have to kind of run Hypo and acclimatize gradually.
What salinity do they run theirs at?
That's what they have. I think it's not major Hypo. I think it's something like 1.19 or something like that.
So it's not...
What's the range?
0.019.
The technical range for Hypo?
I think you can go right down to like 12.
0.9 is the lowest you can go.
Yeah.
Point.
So I probably wouldn't go that low. Probably 12 would be low. But then
still...
you've got a balance between the implied stress that can be and what you're trying to do, because it's no point trying to eradicate parasites on the fish, and at the same time killing the fish.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean?
Or giving them more parasites.
Yeah, exactly. So you got to get that fine balance. So I wouldn't recommend Hypo to everybody, and I wouldn't recommend, believe it or not, copper to everybody, because copper treating is very difficult because you have to be right on the money, otherwise it doesn't work. And if you too much, you're going to kill your fish as well. So with white spot, it's a very tricky one to actually do properly.
Mm-hmm. So if you order a fish online and it's Hypo Salinity, it shows up in, say, like 0.14, 0.15, how long would you take to acclimate it back up to, 35 per BT or 1.05?
You're talking 0.05 per hour.
Mm-hmm.
is what you want to be looking at as a minimum, really.
Mm-hmm.
If you can make the fish comfortable and fairly, comfortable and happy, then it's not going to mind being acclimatizing for hours on end. It won't mind.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all about how you do that. My favorite way is actually to do it, like a lot of people obviously do it in a bucket,
mm-hmm.
Because of what they've got available, but I actually like to do it in a tank.
Mm-hmm.
So as far as they're concerned, they've gone into their new home.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll raise the salinity in that tank over time and use that as a, like you say, like almost as like a semi-quarantine whilst they're acclimating. So I can acclimate over days if I want to, because I've got a separate tank. And then that way it gives you a chance to observe the fish, make sure it's eating, it's not getting bullied by the other fish. Because the other thing is when it goes into a new tank and it gets like your other tanks come up to it, if it stops it eating and puts it off the food, then you've got to try and get it eating again.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't want that on top of everything else it's stressing out as well. So I quite like putting them in a separate tank for a few days or a week to acclimatize them, to get, target feed them and everything else before then add into the other tank if I can do it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I mean, especially too, you're saying making sure they're eating and all that stuff is a huge thing up front.
Yeah, because when you get the new fish in, it's got a lot to process, and the one thing you don't want it to do is to stop eating. If you can get it eating, even when it goes into the tank with all the other fish that you've got, it's going to hold on to that feeding stimulus. So when the food gets in, no matter that it's in new surroundings, because it's been eating constantly, that'll trigger that feeding frenzy. And it'll forget everything else and it'll want to eat. And it'll just get in there amongst the other fish and eat.
Get in the habit, the feeding frenzy. Hey, Nick, I'm being asked what kind of bird you have.
Yeah.
I know. He's talkative tonight. I'm at home tonight. Usually I'm at work, but I'm still not very well, so I'm at home. I've got a parakeet and a macaw.
Oh, nice.
But they've been particularly chatty tonight. So I was on Paul's stream earlier and they were just talking to each other, so... Apologies if it gets annoying. I'll mute myself.
That's not too bad.
Can they actually talk? Can they actually talk, Nick?
Yeah, they do crazy stuff. Like one of them, we had to change the phone because it mimicked the phone so well. We kept answering it like a home phone, so we had to change it. And the big macaw, like Steve was saying earlier, it mimics the dog's barking.
Yeah.
So.
Nice.
He actually the bird will start barking, which will get the dogs barking, which is crazy.
Nice.
So,
that's funny.
yeah.
Let's rev each other up. Christopher Williams is asking, if you guys put Miracle Mud in, does it matter the shape or depth of the container? Shape, no. Depth, you don't want it to be too deep. I believe, Nick, I think you've used it. But I believe you kind of want half an inch, 3/4 of an inch type of thing. It wasn't super deep, from my understanding, but I haven't actually used it yet, so...
Yeah, it depends on what application you're using it. Both me and Paul, Community Reef Worldwide, we're using it in a reactor. So basically that takes the depth out of the equation because the reactors we're running push the flow through from the bottom of the media upwards. But if you use that application, you want to be using extremely slow flow. So I'm talking about literally a trickle running through it. And if you do it that way, you're not going to make all your tank go brown. And also, the trick with the Miracle Mud is to get that colonization of bacteria in there, because the way that the miracle mud works is it's the bacteria in the miracle mud that breaks it down, and then it's released into the water and then into your system. So you want a nice slow flow going through it. So if you don't want to use a reactor and you want to use it in the sump, then traditional refugium with a very low contact time, or another method a lot of people use is where you get like a Tupperware tub. You guys have Tupperware over there, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, so a Tupperware tray, put some miracle mud in that, and then another Tupperware tray, and another Tupperware tray, and another Tupperware tray, so that as you'll need to change it out every so often, so you can just remove one of the Tupperware tubs and then replace it for another. So a lot of people find it a good way to do it because it helps you when it comes to replacing, 20% of it every so often.
Actually, what I was
just like one full Tupperware tub.
What I was looking at, well, two things. I don't know if I'd actually ever want to replace it. I think I'd decide to it. But separate side note, unless you run out of space, I guess. But at the dollar stores, small stores, they get these really cool kind of clear fridge organizers. And they're acrylic, and I don't know, they're kind of nice. But that's I figure if I do Miracle Mud, I'm gonna use a bunch of those. I've been scoping out containers.
Yeah, I mean, the good thing is, Bev, I'll be honest with you, you can't really do any major harm with it. It'll just be different levels of effectiveness and efficiencies.
Yeah.
So I always think, I'm as you know, I'm an old school reefer that's adopted new school methodology. So I love experiment. I know you do. Experiment. Try different things. There's no, it's not something where if you do it and it's not quite right, your tank's not going to crash. You just might not get as much out of it. But you'll see that in your coral. I mean, if you speak to Paul about his polyp extensions, his growth, and his coloration since he started using it, you'll see those changes, like you did with the ozone.
Yeah.
If you don't see the change, then you think, right, I need to tweak this a little bit because people are telling me that the results should be better than they are. So if I'm not getting those results and everything else I know is on key, then maybe I need to do something else with it to get it out. And the other thing with that is I much prefer people to look at what they're doing and try things and then try to change things a little bit rather than go, oh, I tried that Miracle Mud and it didn't do anything, so I took it out. Well, you might not have been doing it the most efficient way. So give things a chance and just play with it a little bit before you abandon it. That's the other thing.
No, exactly. And there's probably 20 ways to do the same thing as well. Other side note,
exactly.
Just because I got a message. The other fish I did add to my tank with that was I added a second azure, I think it is, damsel, the blue with the yellow bellies. Nice. First guy has been awesome, no issues, peaceful against every other fish. It's been great. And now the new one was getting harassed like crazy. Like his fins are all tattered. So he's living in my sump right now. So I have someone picking him up later tonight. So I'm just giving him away. But yeah, it's kind of weird. Just the fish has been so peaceful. I know that's one of the more peaceful damsels, and still this one's just getting harassed like crazy. So somebody's getting a free fish tonight.
I just think damsels are a bit like cichlids in the freshwater. If you want a fairly less aggressive tank with damsels in it, get a lot, and then they get lost in the crowd when they do try and chase each other. So won't cut out the aggression, but it'll stop one particular fish. Yeah, it'll stop one particular fish getting all the bullying because it'll just lose itself in the crowd.
No, definitely true. I mean, that's my video I did today. That's kind of one of the things I mentioned too. It's if you have a ton of fish, it's either A, going to distribute the aggression, or B, you still might have one that still gets picked on, depending on the pecking order. Like certain species of fish, like I know Anthea still, literally they'll be like one will pick on the next, and it kind of goes down the chain. Same with chromis, I haven't had a whole school, but a lot of people say, they kind of pick off the weakest one and is to an extent. So I haven't experienced that personally. But yes.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. But when people say that, usually when you look at what they've done, they've got what they think is like a school. They've had 5 or 6 of them, where that isn't enough. It's like with Michael. If you put 30 in or 40 in, you'll see that change.
Yeah.
So 3 to 5 is like I see people like one chromis, which I always think is like, ugh, because it's actually a shoaling fish. Like the bannerfish I got, I wouldn't want to get just one because it's a shoaling fish, so they're going to behave more naturally in the shoal. But then to do a shoal, you need half a dozen to a dozen, you know, to replicate that. So again, I'd agree with you. If they've just got 5 or 6, then yeah, they're going to still get beaten up and pick on the smallest one. But they wouldn't if they got 10 to 20 of them, or probably 20 or more. You know, then you wouldn't get that.
No, exactly.
So,
Yes.
I did my research today, and I put together a circle of some of the reasons why I think people are having and getting more parasites.
Interesting.
Are you ready for this, guys?
Let's see what you got.
So I found out that carbon, as in the carbon you put in your system, it removes or what I think and I read is that it removes iodine out of the water, which iodine helps prevent parasites. It helps fish cure themselves of ick and I think other parasites.
Interesting.
So if people are using carbon, I think they're lowering their iodine, which is helping the parasite win the battle.
So I do use carbon, but I also dose red sea coral colors, which I believe has iodine in it. That's an interesting kind of theory on that one.
How do you use your iodine? Sorry, how do you use your carbon, Dev? Do you run it constantly, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? Or?
I have an Aractor that runs 24 hours. I have it on a fairly low trickle, like it's not pumping it through it, like it's just a very slow trickle stream. And I probably only change it every like 6 weeks or so. So I know it's probably used up in the first week or so, but
right,
like
because we just had this, we just had this discussion on Paul's stream, and what I was recommending. I mean, you might want to try this and see what you think, but I always use it for like 1 week, once a month. So I only run it for the week and I take it out, and then I'll run maybe a small amount of GFO, you know, and then nothing for 2 weeks. Because what you'll find is the thing with carbon is like what Narcosis is saying. Carbon as a product is extremely high surface area, and that's why it's such a good absorber.
Yeah.
So the problem with carbon is that it'll just keep on absorbing, and it'll hold on to everything. So whilst it's useful for us to take out chemicals given off by corals during the coral warfare and particulates and things like that, it's like Narcosis saying, it'll also draw out a lot of good stuff out of your system as well. So you might want to have a look at that, you know, read into it. Like I say to everyone, don't trust me, you know, research it, but read into that. And you might find that it'd be worth changing the way you use it a little bit.
So part of my kind of questionable theory part on that one was, I know carbon also gets used up very quickly, right? Like it's probably, after a week, it's probably like 90% used up. I mean, it could even be sooner. It's hard to say. It depends on your water. So it gets used up. And after that point, it's really just surface area for bacteria in your tank.
It is and it isn't. Because if you think about it, what's your natural, like when we talk about cycling the system, in the old days, we used to do natural cycle because a lot of the bacterial products weren't available to us and all the rest of it. So our natural cycling was between 6 and 8 weeks. So we'd fill the tank up, we'd put a raw prawn in there, we'd let it rot away, or some people would ghost feed it. Some people would chuck in a molly or, you know, a damsel or something like that. And then they'd cycle it. And it was a 6 to 8 week cycle. Why? Because it took 6 to 8 weeks to build up the bacteria levels at which it could efficiently deal with the ammonia for the nitrogen cycle.
Yeah.
So if you think about your carbon as a huge surface area and you plonk that in your tank, what isn't on it? Bacteria is not on it. So what you're doing then is to do what you say, you know, it's going to do for you. That won't happen until 6 to 8 weeks.
Okay, fair.
Do you see what I mean? Because if you think about it, it makes sense, right? We used to natural cycle used to take 6 to 8 weeks. So if you put a very high surface area material in like carbon, it just stands, to reason that it's going to take 6 to 8 weeks for that to fully colonize.
Fair.
Whilst it's doing that, it's collecting, and that's why we always think of the carbon as being a source for nutrients and things, because all those particulates in the water that's going into your reaction, forcing its way into the carbon with the flow, is getting pushed into those pores where there's no bacteria or very little bacteria to break it down. So then it's going against what you want to do with your tank rather than help your tank. The only exception to the rule with that is the only product I know of is probably the ATM Supernova Carbon, because what they've done is they put dry bacteria cysts onto their carbon to prevent that from happening. So if you use their product, that I would say is the exception to the rule, because as soon as that hits the water, the cysts activate and you get live bacteria on your carbon straight away.
Okay, so that makes sense. So I agree that there's likely no benefit to leaving it in there that long. Like, I know there isn't really anything, but is there any con to doing it?
Yeah, the con is that it's going to trap particulates with no bacteria to break it down. So it's basically going to rot. So you're putting a stress onto your system with a bioload. It's almost like you shoving a load of food into the underside of your rock and then just letting it rot away, because you just add in a stressor onto your system where if you put it in, take it out after a week, you get the maximum efficiency of it without any of the cons. And then like Narcosis was saying, it'll be absorbing iodine and other stuff and things like that.
Interesting.
Who's getting beat up? Steve's beating somebody up.
Narcosis.
Was it Narcosis?
Yeah. Domestic dispute.
Yeah.
Narcosis just got slapped.
I don't know. That's
But
fun.
again, Dev, like, you read into it. This is only my
I plan on it.
theories. So read into it. But if I've triggered that interest for you to read it,
I will do
then
some
that's
thinking.
then that's my job. But
Your job here is done.
Have a think about what I've said and have an investigation and see what reasoning you come up with, and then feedback to me, and we'll have a good debate.
Yeah, no, that sounds good. No, it makes sense, right? Like, I mean, potentially, yes, it is just a filter blocking stuff after a while. I mean, I do have a filter stock on the tank, so realistically, there's no big particles making it through. However, in my current theory is just that the carbon just becomes less and less useful. So it's just me not worrying about it. Scott Brooks, thank you for subscribing. So beyond that, it was just kind of like it would just not be as useful. But me personally being
it won't
lazy
be as useful as it won't be as useful as your initial reason for using it. But you then got to consider what else is it doing.
So, if you guys believe Wikipedia, this is what Wikipedia says. Can I share a screen? Nope.
You should be able to.
So,
Here,
Wikipedia says many carbons. I can't even say that word. It tally absorb small molecules. Iodine number is the most fundamental parameter used to characterize activated carbon performance. It is a measure of activity level. Higher number indicates higher degree of activation needs. Often reported. Hold on, let me find out where it says it takes it.
Why don't you read it first, Narcosis? Read it first, digest it, and then tell us.
I can't. You're probably going to have to do it. This is beyond my knowledge. Where's the share? Here we go. Share screen. Iodine number is defined as milligrams iodine absorbed by 1 gram of carbon. When the iodine concentration in the residual filtrate is 0.02 normal. Basically, what it says is that carbon takes up iodine in its pores, and it basically stops your carbon's performance.
So iodine impacts carbon performance? by clogging its pores quicker. I think that's kind of what I'm getting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically,
basically.
your carbon absorbs iodine,
Mm-hmm.
and it stops the carbon from working.
Okay. Huh. That's very interesting. Considering
So
I
you're
am
basically-
essentially dosing iodine every second day, just a tiny bit. Reefer Fox, thank you. Welcome.
Well, if you take out your carbon, I think your iodine would probably spike up then, because you no longer have the buffer that's keeping it down low.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, but at the same rate, his corals might be able to absorb it.
Quicker.
I mean, have you done? Yeah, have you done like an ICP test or anything like that, Dev? To get
I have not. One day.
no. Have you done an iodine test?
I believe that's included in the Red Sea Coral Color Test Kit, which I have.
Right.
Let me take a look. I vaguely recall that
So
I was
you
high
could
when
get,
I did
you
it.
could get a good handle on, because what you might find is that even though you're dosing a little bit every day, the carbon's inhibiting that dose. So what your corals are actually wanting is a bit more. So if you took your carbon out after a week, you might then be giving the corals more of what they actually want, and you wouldn't necessarily get a spike in terms of excess iodine. You probably get a good measure of fulfillment of what the requirement is within the corals you've got.
So, I've only tested it twice apparently, and the first time was 0.07, the next time was 0.09-ish. So, which I believe was potentially on the high side. I think it was supposed to be around 0.06 or somewhere closer to that. So it was a bit high. I was also dosing Red Sea Coral Colors daily, and now I only dose it every second day with the doser, so I've toned it down a little bit.
That might account for it as well. Yeah, I don't know what dosage is in the Red Sea stuff, to be honest. Don't know what sort of levels are in there.
So I've been slacking on my testing lately, but I know less people like to share and ask about tests. So
It's a slippery slope, Dev.
here, people always ask. They always want to know. So let's share some test results. You can see my
It's a
slacker
slippery slope
testing
when
ways.
when you get sloppy on your tests, and then suddenly it's like, oh, something's happened.
Yeah, I still test enough. Just, well, probably not. How often do you guys test? That's a good question. Let me shrink myself here.
See, I'm one of those people that doesn't do what he tells other people to do.
Okay, fair enough. So what do you got here? So the last time I tested was on September 27th. My alkalinity was 8.56. And then before that, it was on the 14th. So, 2 weeks earlier, 8.34. A couple days before that, 8.3. So I test alkalinity the most, obviously.
Yeah,
calcium,
you want to be around the 8. Around the 8's good.
Yeah, I shoot for about 8.5 is kind of my target. So I test alkalinity the most. I do fairly balanced dosing for the most part. I mean, it's a little bit different, but so I test calcium every few tests. Like I find the Hana calcium test to be fairly pricey, so that's why I don't bother testing as much. I know it's usually fairly consistent, so I test that all the time. Same thing with phosphates. I haven't tested that in ages, but it's been usually around 8.05 or lower type of deal, so it's good enough.
Yeah.
Magnesium, same thing. I'll test that like once a month, maybe. A little more often than lower down. The other random minerals, like I don't really test them that often, but once in a while. And then same
All right,
thing.
guys. My wife just got home after a 4-day trip, so I'll be back probably.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, Narcosis, take care.
All right.
Yeah.
See you, bud.
Say hi for us. And then another thing that's good to do as well, test time. So I usually try and test. Apparently, it's ended up being around 10:30, but I try and test at the same time whenever I do a test. That way, you're depending on if you have a doser and you're dosing on a certain schedule. If you test the exact same time, it should be similar or pretty darn close to the same results. So that's one kind of tip is make test at the same time whenever you're gonna do your test. And then I have a little notes field too, like, so here I upped my alkalinity by 3 mils, so I just bumped up my doser. So certain things like that kind of gives you more consistency, then you can look back and track it. So, fresh carbon, fresh GFO. So I just do kind of notes like that as I go. Or if I bump
Do you have any, do you convert it to graphs at all, Dev?
I did it.
Like the Neptune does?
No. I did have a spreadsheet where I did that at one point, but I haven't actually used it in ages. I just use the Google Sheets right now, so I can use it on my phone or wherever and update it quickly.
There's a really nice app I think Michael uses where you can have your you log everything in there. I think it's called like Aquarium Buddy or something like that. And it'll actually show you it in graphs as well. So you just input it the way you do with your results, and it'll convert it to a graph. But I think they're quite useful because when you're looking at numbers, you can't always see a pattern in the numbers. But when you see in a graph, you can see a pattern forming. So, and it makes it quite useful.
No, I would definitely agree on that. So Neptune does do that. I should actually probably just start entering them into the Fusion. I don't know why I don't. Yeah, but they do have.
Yeah, you've got the tools. You paid for it.
It's already there. Say add measurement. Hasn't even used it yet. I did it at one point. I haven't done it in ages. The cool thing is you can tell how much test kit you use, and it will actually compensate for you, right? So I can just tell the value off the nanometer, and I don't have to pull out a calculator and transplant 0.056 for my alkalinity type of thing. So stuff like that's actually fairly useful if you take advantage of it. So maybe I'll start actually using that. I need to utilize the.
Can you imagine if they make the HANA test kits Wi-Fi enabled so that they automatically send the result to your Neptune?
They probably will eventually.
So you didn't even have to.
We talked about that.
That'd be cool, right?
Just like everything.
Yeah, that'd be cool, right?
Yep. But actually, on that note about using the graphs and type of stuff, I'm probably gonna do a video on it soon. Just some of the graphing features that you can do in Fusion, because you can do a lot of cool stuff, and it's one of those things that not a lot of people really play with or dig into as much. But even looking at stuff like my pH, like I've been playing with pH and ORP, trying to figure out how they kind of correlate to each other, and same thing, what time my refugium lights turn on, what time my shader reactor's on. Like I'm doing a lot of stuff with that just to kind of tweak the two and try and balance out my pH more. So
hey, hang on a sec. I'll tell you what, why don't you try, before you do that video, Dev, why don't you try and touch base with Terence and telling what you're looking at doing, and he might be able to give you some background on that. Like, well, if you do it this way, this way, this way.
I may have already talked to Terence about it.
Oh, have you already contacted him?
Yeah. So the other sneak peek, I'm probably gonna have Terence from Neptune on sometime, in the next 3 or 4 weeks.
Oh, great.
Nice.
So if you guys have any kind of special questions or anything Neptune Apex related, let me know, and I'll start making kind of a future wish list of stuff to bring up in chat and dig into. Which should be good.
That's cool, because I just had him up on Messenger just now, about to type, "Hey Terence, are you free?"
Nice. Hey, you can invite him in
to
now.
Say, hey, speak to Dev. So yeah, so no, that's good. I always think, like, for you as well, it's if you can touch base with the guys behind the equipment or the programming, then they're going to be able to give you the ins and outs of the software, right? So they could say, well, you can do it this way, but if you did it this way, you can have a more consistent result, or this is an easier way to do it. Sometimes I think it's better getting it from the horse's mouth.
No. What's the name of the gentleman that designed it? Older guy with glasses?
I'm not sure who the older guy is, but
I've seen
him. Terence Fugazi is the guy that demos it.
It's amazing.
Yeah, I've seen him in like a bunch of the Machina and other videos, but yeah, I never actually caught what his name is.
Yeah.
I know Terrence enough just because I see him on the message boards all the time and stuff like that. But
yeah, he's really approachable as well. He's a nice guy.
No, he definitely is.
That's important.
But yeah, it's one of the.
I'm super excited because we've got the UK trade show in 2 weeks, and
nice.
we've got Lengside coming over from America from Ecosystems, who does Miracle Mud, obviously.
Yep.
So he's going to be there, and we've also got Esan from Triton, who's going to be there.
Nice.
So I've spoken to Esan plenty of times on the phone and messages and stuff, but I've not actually met him to shake his hand. So I'm super excited to actually get face to face with him.
Excellent. That should be good.
I'm going to see if I can get Paul in as well to the trade show. So I'll sign him in under my company name or something, so he can have he can chat to Eshan about his Triton success as well.
Excellent. No, that'll be good. So got Refugium. Where is my shader reactor?
Why haven't you got Miracle Mud on there yet anyway?
Well, I was supposed to be getting some, but I have not yet, so hasn't happened. Eventually.
Did you need some?
Sure.
Were you getting some sent, or you?
Well, I was supposed to be but I heard that a long time ago, and I don't know. So we'll find out.
Are you gonna get some sent? I'll chase Cruz on that if you're on his wish list.
Yeah, well, I was supposed to be, and then he said after Machina, and then all the Storm stuff, and yeah, I just haven't followed up with him on it. So one day, so I'll try it, but Yeah, so just kind of show you guys quickly, like this is my graph for my frag light. So I have the frags in my sump that I run on a reverse daylight schedule. It's the same thing as, watching the graphs and seeing when my pH is dropping. That's kind of when I turned on the frag lights to compensate it. Ideally, I would run them a bit longer. I could lower the intensity to run them longer, but I was trying to keep it similar enough to like the power and duration of my display lights to keep it so I can move frags from my display to the refugium and not really have it shock or make any big difference on the coral. So it's kind of nice to be able to move stuff around. Who's going to Reefapalooza? Sadly, I'm not. I would like to. Maybe we'll see. I'm definitely doing Macna next year. Reefapalooza's maybe.
Which one? The California one?
For Reefapalooza? Or Macna?
Yeah. The next one's California, right?
I think so. Yeah, actually, yeah, we gave.
I know Antonio's there with the RFGs.
Nice.
So if anyone's going, go and say hi to Antonio at Vivid Creative Aquatics store. This is his first Reefapalooza, so he's super excited and super nervous at the same time.
That'll be good for him. Excellent. Christopher Williams should be there on Sunday. Nice, Chris.
What, California, Chris?
I believe that's where it is, so should be.
Right. If you're going, Chris, go and say hi to Antonio for me. As a personal favor for me. Make him feel welcome.
Excellent.
And wanted and loved. Give him a big hug.
Perfect. There you go. Just walk up, go give him a big hug. Be good. Share the love. What else is new on the tank? So I did the powder blue. And the Zero, he was getting too harassed, so he's living in the frag tank. I'm giving him away. I feel like I've done some more new stuff to the tank, but I'm blanking on what the newest thing is. Couple new frags.
Have you got any more corals, or what corals are you getting, Dev?
I am getting some frags of a buddy that owes me because I helped him do a bunch of stuff. But pink Millie. There's another one. I don't know if it's like an X-Man or something, some kind of acro. It's kind of a bright yellowy green. So the pink Millie, that strawberry shortcake, a couple other ones. A few other ones. They're not super colorful at the moment, but I have faith that they'll color up and be very pretty. So it should be good.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I'm kind of excited. So hopefully in the next week or so. I got one buddy, actually. He just picked up a new tank, which is a big peninsula tank. So I'm going to be helping him with that build. Probably starting next weekend, so that'll be pretty cool to check out.
How big is it?
It's similar to my size. I think it's.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think mine's maybe 6 inches longer. Like I think it's a 5-foot peninsula type of deal. But yeah, it should be pretty good.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, this will be a fun build.
How are you plumbing it? Are you plumbing it the same way, or is it going out the rear, or?
It'll be similar, especially because I'm helping him do it.
So you're going to do it the same as you've done yours?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the sump and everything else. But yeah, it is out the back of the tank, so it is peninsula style.
Right.
I'm not sure if he's actually set up as peninsula. Hopefully, I like it peninsula. But he has a 90-gallon now, and he'll be going to this tank, so it'll be a bit bigger and be a kind of a cool look.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so kind of exciting. Should be good. I'll probably have to shoot some videos and make something on that build. That will always be fun. But yeah, no, as for my new stuff, the powder blue's been great. I know a bunch of people have asked about him. Yeah, you can kind of see the pixelated powder blue swimming in the middle there, and he's found out where the nori clip is, and all the tangs will hang out and take nibbles together, and yeah, they're all very peaceful together now, which has been awesome. So that makes me happy. And I'm jealous of all you guys that are making it to Reefapalooza.
You might find from time to time on your powder blue, Dev, you'll get some spots.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like white spot, but sometimes they'll get some like blotches on them.
Mm-hmm.
Just don't panic. Just leave it, because usually after a couple of days they go. It's just a weird thing that powder blues do, and I've seen it so many times where people panic because they already know that they're a susceptible fish. So they go into panic mode and they start chasing it and catching it and quarantining it and doing this and that to it. But yeah, generally it's just I don't know what it is. Some people call it stress spot or whatever, but they just get these little blotches on them, but they go away after a while.
Huh? Yeah. So far there's been absolutely nothing. So far he's been perfect. So someone was asking, sorry, this was probably 10 minutes ago, but someone was bringing up lateral line disease from carbon in some of the tanks. So I know some of the powdery carbons have more of an issue with that. The ones that are more granular are a bit safer. So on that note, I mean, I always rinse my carbon too. Like if I'm adding fresh carbon, I take the output and put it in a 5-gallon bucket, and I probably run a couple gallons of water through it. And that's been for the most part. But yeah, the biggest thing is I know you want to make sure you don't have all those carbon powders floating around. I know that theoretically can be linked to lateral line disease. But I don't know if anyone else has more on that one, but I haven't really done too much on it.
Yeah, I've always been confused by that one because I don't know whether it's like Narcosis was saying earlier that it absorbs so much that it's absorbing the minerals, trace minerals and stuff out. Because on the Miracle Mud, they've always said with the Miracle Mud that it reverses lateral line disease and head erosion. And that's because it replaces mineralization. So I always thought with the carbon, it's more. I need to read into it more, but I was always wondering whether it was because it was sucking out the minerals and not allowing it there for the fish.
Yeah, very well could be. I mean, it would kind of make sense to an extent too. So.
Well, that's another good reason for the Miracle Mud. You see, it prevents and heals lateral line.
There you go. I'll have to work on this and try it and see how it goes.
Yeah.
In the chat, they're talking about how clowns are bullies. So, my clown, if I touch his coral, I've been nipped before. I get either headbutted or nipped or whatever's going on. But yeah, there's a little, you can't see it right now, but in the back corner of my tank, I have a leather coral that they both host and like sleep in and everything else. And if I touch it, they get very angry. It's dangerous going in that corner of the tank.
Ocellaris perk.
Yeah. Or no, they're perks.
Okay.
Do I have a photo? Yeah, but they literally will like sleep in it like a hammock. I love it. Right between the branches, they just like lay in there. It's kind of cute. But yeah, if you touch it, ooh, so dangerous. Let's see if I can find a picture. I think I posted one on like Instagram or somewhere like a month ago. See if I can dig it up quickly. But for acclimating fish, that mirror on the side of the tank, night and day the difference. Like the tank was literally obsessed with beating up his own reflection and completely ignored the powder blue. Second day, took the mirror away, 0 issues. Didn't even care about each other anymore. So that was actually, I was amazed at how well that worked.
Great. It's got to be.
I think the only other way you can do it that I've seen successes is the way Rico and Michael do it with the acclimatization box, but. Obviously, you were adding some fish unbeknownst like straight away, so it's not always easy to do that, especially if you've got 2 decent-sized fish.
Yep.
But yeah, I found if you can introduce the fish at lights going off, and then also like use the mirror. But I haven't used the acclimatization box system myself yet. But yeah, I like the principle of that you can put the fish in, the other fish can swim around it, get used to it. If one fish aggressively tries to beat it up all the time, then you know it's just not going to work. You can take the fish back without any damage or anything, you know, of happened. You don't have to try and catch it back out again. So I do like that method of introducing new fish that you might think is going to be a problem. But obviously, that's you knowing that you might want to do that rather than somebody just turn up with a bucket of fish at your door. So.
Yeah, I was actually looking into acclimation boxes, those type of things, but yeah, literally there was no warning. It was like, hey,
there's no warning.
I'm in your area and I got a bucket of fish. I'm like, oh great, I'm at an event. I guess I'm leaving early. So yeah, that's okay though. I got a beautiful powder blue of the deal. So if any of you guys are watching on YouTube, there's my little leather coral with the clowns, and they literally like sleep in the branches of it.
Nice picture.
Yeah, it's kind of cute, despite being attacked if I touch the leather coral.
Female or both?
It's the female. It's aggressive.
Wow.
Here's one for you guys. Have you guys ever seen or heard of a spiny clownfish? Is it called a spiny fin clownfish or a spiny clownfish?
I have not.
No.
I saw one in a local shop, and I swear I've been in this hobby so long, and I've never heard of it or seen one, and it was beautiful. and it was strange because the coloration of it is like almost like a tomato clownfish, but it was the size and shape of its finnage that was weird, and just very, very graceful.
Interesting. It's a spiny clownfish. I've looked that up.
Yeah, I didn't get the full name. They weren't too sure in the shop what it was, and I was like, "Hey, what's this? What's this clownfish? I've never seen one like that before. Is it a weird designer clownfish?" And they were saying, "No, it's a spiny clownfish." But
Interesting. In the chat, asking about getting an anemone, but worried about it stinging coral. Should I be worried? So I have my bubble tip, which has stayed in one spot for like 6 months, and one day decided to walk around and move up to the top of my rock. And it's close to stuff. Like, it does brush a few different acros and stuff. So far, it hasn't really stung or caused too much of an issue. It's literally just out of reach of most of them. But if it stays touching it for too long, it will likely sting it. If it just walks by it, you're probably fine. But anemones definitely will move until they find a spot you're happy. And then if you change your lighting or flow, they might move around again until they find a new spot they like. But at least in my tank, it literally moved up to the highest par spot I could find and tons of flow and just stayed there.
Hey, Reef Spy.
Hey, Reef Spy.
hey, Reef Spy, how you doing?
Aquarius Simple. How are the Red Sea coral colors working for you? So my corals are looking awesome right now. My tank's just no complaints. The tank looks great. I haven't tried stopping using them. I may, when I run out, I may just let it go for a little, like a month or two, and see if I notice a big difference or not. People I've talked to said yes, the corals weren't as vibrant when they stopped using it. So I haven't had the chance to 100% say just stop cold turkey and then see if there's a difference. So that will be a kind of a future update to say for sure. But the tank is look good. I am using it. I mean, very well could be that if I do mineral mud, it could be the same thing, adding some of those minerals back in or different ways. I think it's just, one of many ways to do it. But everything is colorful and happy, and I used 1 mil of each every second day, so I'm using a fairly low dose of it. Reef Spy, listing in the card. I hear Terrence from Neptune is coming on. Yes, not today. I did talk to him, hopefully later this month. So in a few weeks, I'll get him on at some point. So what I'm thinking I'm going to do is every few weeks I'm going to get a special guest. I thought about doing every other week, but I don't know. Every couple weeks I'm going to try and get a special guest. Just kind of for fun. I like having different people now. It's just different parts of the industry and different stuff to do. So kind of what I'm thinking. It's kind of a lot of work and back and forth to like arrange it all and stuff. So we'll see. But every couple streams, so hopefully something good, extra special one. Reefer Fox, my female clown was aggressive. Went after my hand, started to feed from my hand, then she stopped. But she would attack the baser, and I feed her with the baser, then she stopped. So you gotta win her love over with food. So I have a couple of my fish, actually. I had the Julian's thing, the big kind of tricky baser type food squirter thing. And I have a few of them, like the fish will be right up there, like trying to munch on the end of it until I squirt out food. Like they're like, give it to me. And the biggest one that makes me laugh is the blue line cleaner wrasse, because he has this tiny mouth, but this like big yap opens up like, and he's like pecking on the side of it. It's actually really comical. I should try and record it one day. But it just, this tiny mouth is normally like this. Also, you're like, just like smacking the side of it trying to get food. It's rather entertaining. Yes, be worried once they grow, you're done. So they're talking about anemones. One's 10 inches across and fully extended. So it depends on the anemone as well. Some anemones will split, and some will just continue to grow and get bigger and bigger and bigger. The bubble tip that I have split on me, so I didn't actually realize it split till one night. I saw the two different little things, so I just eventually got one out and just sold half of it, which is kind of nice. I mean, it's easier to sell one for cheap rather than having one that just gets massive and overgrows your tank. Something to consider if you're at an enemy.
And get something to protect your power heads as well.
That's fair. I haven't done that yet. That's the worst thing. But yeah, that could wipe out a tank. If an enemy gets sucked into a power head, the toxic from that could literally kill a tank. I've heard that happen a few times. Aza, you got Russ got you running. I'm just curious what you did, because you had a kind of a funky tiered setup you're getting on there. So you should jump on or share what you did later, because I'm curious now.
Hey, Clevy, how you been?
Hey, Clevy.
Hey, Clevy.
She's in Texas.
Yeah.
How did you fare during the hurricane?
Hopefully well. Dr. Welsh gets the inside of the elbow every time you change the nori clip. Oh no. Luckily my clowns stay in the one corner, and that they don't attack me or nip me unless I'm like within like an inch or two of their leather. Like otherwise they're fine. But if I go for that, then they'll start to get the little headbutt or nip or whatever they're trying to accomplish. Little punks. Nope, tank went back to blues. Waiting her back up. It actually, when I started the stream, it actually looked pretty crisp, but I guess the bandwidth is killing it because now it's all super pixelated in the background. There, back to white lights.
Yeah.
I know.
Hey, I just saw some vids of your new 30 the other day. That was very interesting.
So Aussie Dan just started out with SPS, but yet to see much polyp extension, if any. All water parameters are right. I have good flow. Any ideas? So sometimes for just starters, one, I find I get better polyp extension with using amino acids. So maybe something to try. Another thing too, sometimes corals will do absolutely nothing until they're settled and happy. Your water could be perfect, but if they're used to water with different parameters and you just add them to your tank, it may take them a while to adapt and kind of get used to it. So same thing.
Hey, so how?
Yeah.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Excellent.
Sorry about that, Dave.
Oh, no problem. How you doing, Asa? So you got your convoluted Apex program working?
Yep.
Yeah,
Excellent.
I had a bunch of stuff I had to do to get it working, but he wrote a bunch of code for me and got it running.
Did you?
Nice.
Did you use a bunch of like a tiered of virtual switches, or would you end up doing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, sure did.
Okay, perfect.
One thing calling another, and another thing. I had about 3 levels.
Okay. No, that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
That was my 1/2 theory, but I'm like, oh, this is gonna be confusing.
Yeah, so he said that there wasn't really an elegant way of doing it, and it just had to do with brute force, and so he wrote it out. Luckily, I didn't have to do the brute force myself. He wrote it out, and it ran right out of the box.
Nice. That's excellent.
So now I have to tune it.
Perfect.
He and another guy helped me with a really, back when I had Tunsies, I had this really like 4 timers running where the pumps would switch modes throughout the day. But then there were different timers where if one mode was running, it had a flush cycle, and it ended up being like some really like complicated code. And yeah, and Russ and another guy, Sleeth, really helped me refine it. Those guys are good. I don't know if they get paid, but they should.
Yeah.
Yeah, they must.
Yeah,
because they're there all day.
Yeah, he ended up being like almost 50 lines of code across 3 or 4 different virtual timers.
Yep.
It was complicated.
Honestly, on the Neptune support forum, they're actually very helpful. Like I've posted stuff a few times, and usually either someone from Neptune or someone in the community, they seem to respond fairly quick. So they have some pretty good support in that respect.
Yeah.
Just leaving my LFS.
What'd you buy?
And
Some Rasses.
Which ones?
But I didn't take them. I got something called a 2-tone Ras. But I purchased it, but I left it there.
Okay.
Because I need to get the hawkfish out. Nat King, if you're listening, your hawkfish that you gave me is now being like a pain in my tank. So I set up the fish trap, which also serves as my acclimation box. So I'm giving myself 2 days to catch him. So I bought the fish I wanted, but I left them at the fish store. And my my live aquaria order is coming Friday, so I'll still be able to tank transfer method all these fish, within the same cycle.
Excellent. That'll be good.
Yeah. I got some fish food, LRS Reef Frenzy. I really like that brand. I bought Chunky last time. I don't know what got into me where I bought Chunky. I guess for predators, and the fish eat it, but it's made for, I guess, fish that hunt and want eat like whole shrimp. But the fish pick at it, but because it doesn't fall apart or it's in big chunks, it basically stays like I said last night, and this morning I saw the copper band still picking at pieces that were in the aquarium, so that's no good. So yeah, but yeah, it's the same LRS brand, but they have Reef Frenzy, Fish Frenzy, which is like, you know, a softer food.
Yep.
That the fish still pick at, but it's still soft and it's easy to fall apart. So, you know, once the fish pick at it, it turns into smaller particles that then the smaller fish get. But the chunky, it looks like it's whole shrimp in there, like fully whole shrimp. All they do is it looks like all they do is just peel it, cut it in two, and put it in the fish food. So that's not for me. I guess if you have a fish only predator tank, that's the fish food you want.
Yep.
Good to know.
What do you have, Manhattan aquariums though?
Yeah.
Nice.
I actually tried feeding flake food to my tank for the first time in like ages because I had some. Like crinkled underwater, and almost everything actually went far. I was like, huh, what do you know? I always feed frozen and like once in a while pellets. So and I feed nori every day as well. But yeah, it's weird. I was just like, oh, I haven't fed flake food since like freshwater days. But I got a sample of one, so I figured I'd try it.
New York City sirens. Hang on a second.
Yeah, no problem.
I feel like I need to do something when I hear the sirens.
Oh, this is normal. This is normal.
What do you feel you gotta do, Nick?
New York for the first time. This is normal.
Nice.
Oh, that's right. Slide down the pole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This yeah, I feed flakes to the small tank, but I feed a mix of everything. I don't know. I just in my auto feeder I mix like the PE mysis pellets, the medium size, along with some algae pellets, and then I sprinkle some flakes in it. I crush some flakes really fine, but I don't like doing that because the flakes sometimes clog up the auto feeder. And then so they get fed twice a day, pellets at 12 p.m. And then like about now at night they would get frozen, and nori along with a nori clip every other day or so.
Yeah, I do nori every single day in my tank, and I think that's my fish constantly graze at it, so I think it's a good thing, definitely a good thing to do.
Everything eats nori in my tank, even like the leopard wrasses will eat it.
Mine too, actually. I was surprised about that.
Yeah, I was really surprised, but yeah, clownfish, leopard wrasse. When I had the chorus wrasse, he ate it. Well, except the hawkfish, which I don't like anyway. But you know, who cares about him?
So the clowns won't go eat it out of the clip, but if someone else pulls it out and it's floating around, they'll go and eat it. Same thing.
They'll go to collect.
Yeah, if I clean the glass, the little algae that floats away, the clown's like, rum, rum, rum. Like they'll follow the algae, the scraper sometimes, and go eat it as it floats around. They're like the cleanup crew. It's great. Works pretty well.
I have that excuse me again.
Wow.
Would you steal?
What's Seymour doing?
Yeah, I know.
Seymour's causing a riot or something.
His alibi. It wasn't me. I was on a live stream.
This is normal. This is like New York City normal.
Yeah. Yeah, it's probably true.
So come on, if you live here after a while, I'm only conscious because I'm on, you know, I'm with you guys. But if you live here, like this is normal.
You're just desensitized to it.
Yeah, after a while. If you come from the country, and you're visiting, it'll be annoying as heck. But after a while, you get used to it.
So if you go somewhere, would you be like, it's too quiet? Like, could you sleep in if it's really quiet? Are you traumatized to the sound?
Actually, I like to spend, when I go on vacation, I think living in the city when I go on vacation, I like to go to quiet places a little bit. And after a week, I am annoyed. I'm ready to go home to rip my hair out. A week, 5 days to a week is good enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
And I mean, I've been to places like, the middle of nowhere, Buffalo. Like if anyone from Buffalo hears me say this, but I go to like Buffalo, which is quiet to me. But yeah, I tend to like quiet places for vacation because I want to relax, get away from the city. But after a week, after a week,
are you okay?
No, and believe me, I'm not in the busy part, guys. I'm on like 10th 11th Avenue, way out in the corner, Steve. So I'm not even like a busy part in Manhattan. I'm just way.
Are you dodging traffic?
No, I'm on the sidewalk.
He's
So-
jaywalking.
Apparently, you guys are all in noisy places. That's like New York. Sounds
City,
like
that is a New York City tow truck towing somebody.
Exactly.
so. In the
Hilarious.
comments, they're like, sounds like Denver as well. Sounds like London. You guys all live in noisy
I didn't know
places.
that.
That's funny.
Now I have a
I would
question.
love
If there's a correlation here, so I have this weird obsession of making my tank like dead quiet. So, do you guys find your tanks to be quiet or are they loud? And if they were a bit louder, would you even notice or would it just blend in with the ambient sound of the craziness of the cities?
I have the obsession to make my tank dead quiet.
Okay.
Because it's in my living room.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mine's dead quiet, except that it has a splash.
Oh,
Which is good, Asa. I was just about to say that, because with the modern hobbyist obsession of making it ultra quiet, what you're losing is that splash of the water, which is actually really good for your tanks. That's why, you'll be okay, Dev. That's why, for
That's
me
what
now,
nanobubbles are for.
yeah, encouraging people to use the bubbling and to use ozone and things like that is in a way more important now because everyone wants this dead quiet tank with no splashing, no crashing of the water, which is good. Do you know what's also very good with crashing water?
Aeration?
No. See if you'll get this one. I don't think you will, but it's quite an obscure one. Have you ever heard of impact filters?
I'm gonna Google it very quickly.
Okay, if you smash water, it depletes your nitrates as well.
Really?
You're kidding.
Hey, Dev, quickly. Dev, I'm showing the store we were talking about the other day, B&H.
Oh, nice.
The camera store.
Very nice. Looks like a snazzy store. If anyone's into photo video stuff, they're probably one of the biggest ones in the States.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
All right, I'm going to go on pause because there's just too much craziness happening.
All right. Sounds good.
Yeah, on that splash, what I did was when I first built the dump bucket, I laid it right on top of the fish tank, and it was like a nothing burger. It just kind of swished. It didn't do anything, and it wasn't loud enough, and it wasn't active enough. So I raised it up and down until I got a good balance between the sound and the crash. And so now I have it about 1 foot up. And somebody else might have it at 6 inches. Somebody might have it at 3 feet. But I like it at 1 foot.
Okay. Yeah. So on my tank, I purposely put in my own acrylic baffles to raise the water level, so it wasn't draining as far into the sock, so it wasn't waterfall noise. I've literally adjusted everything to make it as dead quiet as possible. But the caveat of that is, yes, you're not getting as much aeration because that water turbulence are coming down. Does that? So
yes. Yeah, since I don't have an overflow going into a sump, I have really no sound almost because I just have this little on the back box that I had built, and it just pumps from there straight up to the algae scrubber and then dumps, and then all my other equipment is in the garage, and it just maybe 2 to 10 gallons a day go out there, and so there's no real flushing sound or anything like that.
Nice. So it works pretty well to keep her quiet, eh?
I hear a little bit of
real
splash since I kind of removed the sponge baffle from the Red Sea tank, but I like to hear it when like at night, kids go to bed, everyone's sleeping by about 9 o'clock except me. And, if everything is off, I hear a little bit of water. But for the most part, the living room, I want the tank to be, equipment-wise, to be as quiet as possible.
Yeah.
But a little bit of water. But I'm obsessed with quietness from equipment. My equipment should not make any sound at all.
Yeah.
If possible.
I've even gone, now that I've got this thing timed where it speeds up, and slows down with the splash, I've thought about getting a sound file that sounds like the ocean,
Nice.
and have that timed with the dump bucket. So I saw a couple other people are trying to do the same thing, and some guy has a product that does the same thing.
Really? It's like ocean white noise.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, it doesn't coordinate with any splash, but they just I don't know what he had it going with, but he was selling it.
I think I saw Current USA, or I was watching. I forgot someone's coverage of MACNA, New Orleans, and I saw where I think it's Current USA with their loop system, where they actually have a speaker you can plug in that plays ocean white noise, or I think they have a speaker or a light that plays like background noise.
Yeah. So it'd be pretty easy to do now with an Apex.
Yep. You can get little.
I mean, my personal favorite sound is when you're at the beach at night and there's no background sound and all you hear are just the waves crashing in the beach.
Right.
You know, that's my favorite sound. If I wanted one sound to relax, that is my favorite sound in the entire world. So probably I would play that as background noise to my tank.
Well, you know, that's why I leave the bedroom door open so I can hear that splash at night, because it really it doesn't really help me sleep, but it's really nice.
Yeah.
Extra relaxing.
Yeah.
How you, Dev, huh?
Yeah, I can't hear anything. Mine's dead quiet. I'm not gonna lie. Whenever people come over, that's the one comment everyone. If they don't own a reef, if they own a reef tank, they're always like, "Man, that's quiet." I'm like, "Thank you."
Yeah.
I spent many hours obsessing over this. But yeah, it's kind of funny.
Yeah, you know, I also bought some of those not baffles, those cones that they put on the walls for sound deadening.
Like the point.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
Yeah. So I bought a bunch of that stuff to put on the inside of the hood. I thought it was going to be loud, the dump bucket hitting boom like that. But this time around, I don't hear it at all, just a splash. So I think I'm going to still put it in there because I think it's going to look cool. But
when you say dump bucket, what do you mean exactly? Like, what are you doing, Asa?
Okay, imagine you take a shoebox and you grab one side upper corner and drag it, that it becomes kind of so it gets elongated. And so when you put a fulcrum underneath it, so as the water starts to fill, it starts at the midpoint. I mean, it starts in the bottom of the shoebox, and so it's upright. But then as it starts to fill, the water goes out onto that edge that you stretched, and so then it dumps, and then it comes right back up again.
Okay. I know what you're doing now. I've never seen that on a tank.
So there's about, so it's about 3 inches, 3.5 inches deep, with lights on top of it, and it works pretty well. I've been using it for like 25 years, and I haven't had to repair it or anything.
So I just
updated and updated.
So it's kind of a different concept, but how when the people do like the surge things where it fills up a little tank and dumps it in, same thing, but it's kind of like I've seen them in ponds where it fills it up and then it teeters over and dumps it in, then it fills, the weight goes back, and okay, that's cool.
Yeah, the Japanese use them for grinding rice and stuff, and since it's only 2 gallons, it's not really a strong surge. It's just a splash. That's why I've gone to all this work to get the pumps to coordinate with it, so that I get flow that's coordinated with the splash.
Huh, that's pretty cool. Nice. Yeah, do you have a video on that one? I'm gonna check it out later if you do.
Yeah.
I've never seen that on a tank. Just ponds and that type of stuff. Yeah, go to my website. I go to the on YouTube. Yep. Go to look me up on YouTube. Okay, sounds good. I'm gonna check that out later.
Wait, Asa, I didn't know you made videos.
I've only made 2 or 3.
Well, it'll be easy to find that one then.
I've never even checked. All right, I'm gonna go sub. I've never even checked.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I'm a real Rube Goldberg type of person when it comes to fish tanks.
All right.
Excellent.
It sounds a little bit like the Long Island Aquarium, from what I've seen. They do like a little bit of a surge device where they have a separate tank that gets filled up over the course of an hour, and then within 5 minutes they release it. And then, so what it creates is this huge surge effect across the tank that bounces, comes back,
Yep.
and then over the next hour again, this little separate tank gets filled up, and when it gets full, it gets all released. So so it's sort of like a flush or like a big surge that goes across the top and then comes back across the bottom, and it happens
That's
like
what
once every
Aces
hour.
do. Yeah, that's how Aces works basically.
All right.
You know, when I was younger, I learned to surf in Phoenix, Arizona, and nobody laughed. But what they did is they had a big wall that they'd fill full of water, and then they would dump it out and make a big wave. So that kind of impressed me. I used to go surfing quite a bit.
Wait, did you say Phoenix?
Phoenix, Arizona, in the desert.
Wait, how did you surf in the desert?
Sand surfing.
Okay, now I got the reaction I was looking for. They had a special. They had they have several of them nowadays, but this is the first one where they basically looked like about 5 stories tall, and it was a big wall full of of water. They had some big pumps, and they had some gates along the bottom of the wall, and they built a 12-foot wall, and I don't know, maybe 16 or 18 feet deep. So the wall came up close to the surface, but not to the surface. So when the gates opened, the water would come out, hit this wall, and start this great big wave. So you would hang out on your surfboard right on top of that wall. I mean, it was beneath you, and then all of a sudden you hear this rumbling, and you'd go straight up, and then you'd start down towards the beach and just go surfing.
That's actually a really neat way to do it. I was kind of just watching your video on mute, but yeah, it's kind of cool setup you built up there.
What'd you say about built up there?
Oh, I was just watching you have the funky like curved tube thing, just watching the one on your tank.
Interesting.
Yeah, I 3D printed it. Well, I had it pre-printed. I bought the thing so that I could do that or have the capacity to do it, but I figured why go to the most complicated thing the first day?
Go big or go home, eh?
Yeah.
Excellent.
Hey, Dev, do you want to get one of those RFGs for your system to try out?
I would like to try one out, actually. I've heard you guys talk about them so much now.
Yeah, what return have you got coming back into your tank? Is it a single return or a double return?
A single, but if you want to really be loving, I would love to sort of 3/4 and a 1/2 inch. My main return's a 3/4. However, I was actually thinking, because I have a frag tank in my sump, my manifold's 1/2 inch, and it'd be kind of neat to throw one in the frag tank as well, like pipe it off the return manifold and
Is
put
it
one down there.
Is it a slip? Is it a 25 mil return?
It is whatever 1/2 inches, 1/2 inch and 3/4. 3/4 is 25, isn't it? Quarter inch, 2 millimeters.
So is it, you're going to need like a slip fit adapter to go? Is it just an open pipe that you can just slip onto it?
The one in the main tank is lock line, like just threaded lock line.
Oh, it's lock line?
The clip one. So the 3/4 one's a lock line for my main tank return, and then the one in the sump could just be anything. I haven't.
And you've just got one 3/4 inch lock line return on your main tank.
Yep.
Right. So do you want to try the Y?
Could be interesting to try
so
it.
It splits into 2.
Yeah, it could be a good way to try it, actually.
Right. So you need a 3/4, and then on your frag tank you need what? Just a
1/2 inch one.
Hey, is it below the water surface?
Currently, actually, here I'll go show you. Give me one sec.
Because it'll suck in air. That's all. If it's at the water surface.
Should probably lock it on my iPad before I run over there. There you go.
Hello. Okay. So I have. Of course, the dog's being extra loud. So my main return line, I just have the one 3/4 inch lock line.
Yeah.
Right there. And my dog's chewing a bottle, being extra loud. Of course. So what I was thinking might be cool to do, because these are half. Sorry, I have to confiscate that. Is it loud for you guys?
No, it's okay.
No.
Okay. All right. So these are 1/2 inch on my manifolds. I was thinking it'd be kind of cool to run a line down to here, do a random flow generator inside of here for kind of flow within the frag area.
Right.
That was one of my thoughts.
So that you
kind of fun to try.
Can you do it so you put an elbow on it so it comes out below the water surface so you don't drag the air in?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep,
so if you do that, you just need the nozzle.
Yep, just the nozzle. I can figure out the piping. So I was thinking either that or I could double dip it and steal it off the Chaeto reactor and try and plumb it in. I don't know. I've been trying to think of creative ways to do it.
Right, okay. All right, I'll get you hooked up.
Thank you, good sir.
You're welcome. Don't forget me when you're rich and famous.
One day, buddy. That's the goal, maybe.
Well, I guess I'm going to go home. I'm at work. So I'll talk to you guys later.
All right, brother.
Take it easy, Asa.
All righty.
Here, I'll give you guys a quick sneak of my latest cool toy. So for my birthday, my lovely lady got me a field monitor for my camera. So for making videos, I got this really sweet setup now. So for framing it, then I can kind of see myself, which is awesome. So I'm super stoked for that. So today's morning video was quickly shot on that one. So it's my latest fun toy. Yeah, so super stoked about it. There.
Oh yeah.
Check her out. Yeah, we'll make it so much easier because before, sometimes I've shot videos and I've been trying to like guess on the framing and you go back and it's like out of focus or doesn't line up or something, and yeah, so that way I can see myself and frame it and do it. So yeah, I'm super stoked. That was a pretty awesome present. So she knows my love of YouTube hobby lately. Yeah, so I'm stoked for that. So this morning's video is the first test run of it. Back to the office.
Scook on, buddy.
Oh, sorry guys, I missed
Thank you.
I missed some questions here in the text.
Oh. All right, who do we get?
Dave's asking about Biohome.
Biohome. I have not used Biohome.
Okay, if you guys want to contact a guy called Dom, that's D-O-M, and he has a company called Great Wave Engineering, and you can get your Biohome from him. He's the distributor, but if you contact him, mention that I put you forward so that he knows that I'm sending people to him.
Okay, and where is he located? Because
But
Dave was
that's how
asking
you
about
can
the
get hold of
States.
it. Let me have a quick look, see where he's at. But apparently he's a really nice guy. I've not met him or spoke to him myself, but apparently he's a really nice guy. I need to try and touch base with him if I can, actually.
Sounds good.
Great Wave Engineering. Let me see here.
Looking back up to there's another one. Easy Reefer, speaking of bubble scrubbing. After setting it back up and since tearing it down, my tank, I need to put in some other bio... Okay, sorry, I switched you probably read. Rig up section. Right, okay. Will the big rising bubbles disturb the media? Bubble scrubbing in Biohome media, does it make a difference if they're mixed together? Do they interact? Do the bubbles affect it in any way whatsoever?
One sec. Dev, if I send you this link, is it alright if you post that for the Biohome for me? And then they can find it.
Sure.
Sorry. I'm a man, I can't multitask. So, what was that? Is that from Stian? Oh, okay.
Great Way Engineering, Koi Filter Pond.
Scrubbing.
Okay, I'll post it in the chat. So there's the Biohome.
Nice one, thank you.
No problem.
Speaking of bubble scrubbing, after setting it back up since tearing down my tank, I need to put it under some biomedia that I have in my return section. Will the big rise in bubbles disturb the media? Yeah, you don't really want to be trapping air in your media. So can you do it so that you can carve like a little hole in the media where the bubbles can rise up through it, or put like a tube? in the media to stop it falling into that area above the air stone?
Could do
because you don't really want to stick bubbles up in your media.
You could even just put like a little acrylic tube above it and put your bubbler just below it, so
Yeah.
the big ones rise up and the tiny ones get swirled around where you don't. Those aren't as much.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, just to hold the, your media away from that tube where the bubbles are going to rise up into. Because the only problem with getting air into stuff is that the air can go stale after a while, and then when it releases, it's not, it's stale air. So you don't really want. That's why we try and get away from having lots of big bubbles in the tank, in our displays in the first place.
So the other interesting-ish, that looks kind of interesting, is the MaxSpect has some new super duper porous media.
Nice, right?
Yeah, that actually looks pretty good. I'm curious how it compares to all the other ones, but it looked like a very free-flowing too, which was good.
Well, do you understand the difference between like pocket medias and the way Biohome and I think the way the MaxSpect one's made?
Well, less chance of trapping stuff and clogging up, right? I believe.
Yeah, it's basically the ceramic medias. If you look at it under a microscope, it's like lots of little pockets and holes. And what happens is the bacteria resides inside that hole like a cave. And then as the bacteria dies, it doesn't really get flushed out. So what happens is over time, those holes get blocked. And that's why you see a lot of the media say, oh, you need to change so much every year and things like that. Where the way the Biohome is made, it's like if you imagine lots of little snowballs piled on top of each other. It's made like that, so the bacteria is on the outside of those snowballs, if you like. And then that creates little ravines and channels, those internal structures. So as the water runs through it, it washes off the old, tired bacteria. So that new bacteria can replace it. So in the same way biopellets or marine pearls work, where they fluidize and bang together, it knocks the old bacteria off to let new bacteria on. So that's the principle. So the efficiency of the surface area is maintained. So you'll hear some people talking about amount of surface areas like 100,000 cubic square feet of surface area. And you might get, say, Biohome with like, I don't know, 80,000 cubic square feet. So you think, well, the Biohome isn't as good as the other one because the number's smaller. But in reality, because it maintains its efficiency, it always stays up there. Where the other media with the pocket design slowly decreases over time. So it's sort of like the hare and the tortoise. On the long game, the Biohome works out better. So I'm interested in the MaxSpect media because the way it looks has been made in a similar way to the Biohome. So I'm actually really intrigued by that. And I'm one of these where even though I'm the UK distributor for Biohome, I'm still excited about new products from other companies, even if they're similar to products that we do already or I distribute already. I don't hold that against them. I'm not going to turn around and say, oh, that's a rubbish media because we've got the best. I'm still very excited about new products. So I think that's going to be an interesting one when it comes out. From the questions I've asked to the UK distributor, the cost of it is higher than the Biohome. So how well they market it and things like that, I think could be a determining factor on that one because it is a bit more expensive than the Biohome. So it'll be interesting for sure. But MaxSpect are doing so good with products at the moment.
Yeah, they're
recurve light, the dual pump. They've just launched a new LED as well. I don't know if you've seen that one. Not the recurve. They've launched
I haven't.
another one.
Recurve is the latest I've seen from them.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they've launched another light, which is like a straight, like almost like slab light, but with the fins, a little bit like the Razor, but improved. So
cool.
They're really kicking it out at the moment, MaxSpect. Yeah,
I
like the innovation as well.
Rookie,
yeah.
I give you mad props for jumping on the stream while you're on a cruise ship about to go diving. That's dedication, buddy. we are all highly jealous that you're about to go diving on the Great Barrier Reef in half an hour. You probably came on to brag, but I appreciate the dedication that you're jumping on the stream on a cruise ship. That's awesome. I'm very jealous that you're going diving right now. Not sure the
But
reception.
yeah, I don't know why, but MaxBet at the moment are kicking it in terms of products they're doing. So that's going to be interesting. And Hydor have got their new AC controllable pump, which is supposed to be more efficient than a DC controllable pump.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to be interesting as well.
I don't know. It's cool seeing all these new products coming out.
Yeah, I like it. I'm excited by it. And I think it leads the way to where, a lot of the companies I get to speak to, they talk about, the market being slow with the local fish stores and stuff like that. But it's nice to see that even though they say the market's slow and things like that, that there is companies still pumping money in to develop new products.
Mm-hmm. No, exactly. I'm kind of at this point now where it's like I want to play with them, but at the same time I'm like I don't really need anything anymore.
You do what you want to do? What?
No, it's at that point where it's always like the battle. It's like I want to play with it, but at the same time, oh, look at you on a cruise ship. What a guy, Ricky. What a guy. How's the good life there, buddy?
Hey, guys. Nice, but hang on. We'll go outside. I'll take you on the front deck.
All right.
All right. How is it going in America? Look at this view.
Wow.
Oh,
oh nice. Beauty. Is it like a dive cruise, or you just like you happen to be like diving? Nice. That's awesome. So jealous right now.
It's a great time. I'm from Australia, and I didn't even realize it was this gorgeous.
Gotta go explore the country and the ocean.
Yeah, that's it. Hey.
Yeah. Probably up.
What's happening over in the US? How's everyone's tanks going?
Not too shabby. No complaints on my end.
Okay, give me 2 seconds. Just be getting seated.
That sounds
So
good.
give me a minute. I'll be back.
Good luck.
Okay, what's on?
Lean over the rail.
Yeah.
Oh. Yep, I'm actually diving right now. Hopefully,
Hey, can you imagine if he live streamed during the dive?
Only there's reception underwater. Just get him a big cable.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty cool though. There was a way.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. This is like a pretty new boat, obviously. So it's it's like less than 12 months old, and it's a nice big one. So they obviously have a booster out there. I've only got 1 bar, no 2 bars. But see back here, there's Asians everywhere.
Well, you're
So
a bit
Asian,
choppy,
no
but
offense.
it's not bad for being out in the ocean.
Oh man, it's probably me bobbing up and down to tell you the truth.
That's awesome, buddy.
So how's everyone's tanks going? Has anyone got any new additions?
Got new fish. Got my powder blue tank.
Do you? Nice.
Dude, he showed up on my doorstep. And he's big too. He's probably the biggest fish in the tank. Literally
You get it from online, did you?
No, it literally just showed up on my doorstep from somebody else shutting down a tank and moving.
Wow.
Couldn't say no.
Get some good deals that way, hey.
Exactly.
I don't know about taking things from other people's systems, but I just worry about like what comes with it.
Yeah. So far, so
Are you
good.
gonna quarantine it?
No, starting the tank's fine.
No, you didn't. You didn't quarantine it, did ya?
It had a half-an-hour quarantine as I acclimated it. Maybe an hour.
That'll do, I guess.
Yeah. No, it would look pretty good and healthy, so I went with it. So far, so good. And everyone always says powder blues, white spot ick, no issues whatsoever. He's 100% healthy and happy and looking good, so I might just be lucky, but so far, so good.
Yeah, true. True.
Yeah.
I'm going for.
So what a guy. Going diving. Did you bring a camera? Are you going to film all the good stuff and make a video later?
I've got a whole bunch. I've got everything forgot, which is not good. I forgot my filter, my red and magenta filter
that's okay.
Diving
You don't need
underwater,
that.
so that sucks.
I've never used
I
one.
guess I can edit it on like the video editor later. Hopefully I can make it look somewhat okay. What's going on? Michael in the house.
Oh yeah,
Michael. How you doing?
In the Arabs Aquarium studio with the logo in the background, looking good.
On my And my line of fish foods.
Oh, very nice, very nice. I like the logo actually. It looks good on the wall there. Nicely done.
My mate made it. It's made out of I can't remember what type of wood, but it's wood.
Ah, that's very cool. It looks awesome. What you eating? Anything tasty? Dave is eating Chinese food. You're eating. Rookie's out on a cruise ship. You guys all making me jealous today.
He's on a cruise ship.
He's going diving.
Oh, and he's on a flipping ReefDudes live stream as well.
I appreciate that dedication right there.
That is dedication. Yeah.
Exactly.
What was that then? Is Nick in here? Is Nick in here?
Yeah, Nick's in here too.
I'm here giggling away.
Oh, I heard you giggle. I thought it was you.
You recognize that giggle? So how's the new build, Mr. Michael?
Nice video today.
Good, you know.
Yeah.
Loving it. I'm seeing growth. Yeah, like get on this one. I'm seeing growth in acros. Nice.
I saw the teaser of the new lights in your blurry tank in the background. How are you liking them so far?
So far, they're good. You know, I'm getting a good spread. What I still need to tune is which way that the lights are going to go. That's something that I still need to play with, because at the moment they're sort of like going from front to back, if you know what I mean. So if you was looking at it as a normal tank, you know, with the length in front of you, they're currently going from front to back, and I'm, you know, going to twist them to see what they look like from going left to right, right to left. I've already had them going from left to right, but because I've only had 3 lights on the tank for the past however many weeks I've had them, because the 4th one's been in the box. It's actually behind me over there. It's over there. It's in the box because I was, you know, having to do that unboxing video. So I'd left it in the box and I'd just not had time to do the video. So I finally got the video done this week. Yeah, and I just need to fit that. I just need to fit that light now. So the tank's been running off 3, and it looks good with 3.
Nice.
So when the 4th goes on,
now are they now? So the lights, the head rotates side to side. Are they all going to rotate at the same time? Or are they going to be different, or how are you going to do that?
Because they're all linked, they currently all rotate together. So you know, literally throughout the day. Well, I've not got the app in front of me, but yeah, throughout the day they all go together. You can like unlink them so that they don't go together. But with the sunrise, sunset type idea of it, you know, you're gonna want them all to, you know, go together type thing like that. But what I am toying with as well is, you know, like having sort of like, rather than at the moment, you know, both of them are going like that, you know, the same direction, pointing. So at the end of the day, they'll all be pointing forward. Whereas I'm thinking, because of that big rock structure in the middle, which is quite tall, it's got overhangs and all of the SPS on, I'm thinking of getting them to go like this. So
end up in the middle.
but yeah, so they're both pointing to the middle at night. So I don't know. I'm just gonna play with it and see where we go.
Oh, that's cool. Now, do they move fast or slow? Because in your video, it looked like they were booking it pretty good, but I don't know if you sped that up or if that's actually.
I sped that up for the purposes of, you know, because like I said, I'm using B-roll a lot more, and that was the transition between one bit to another. And obviously, if you notice on my top, you'll notice I've got 2 different tops on because I don't film in one day. And I couldn't find for the life of me the top that I had on the other day, so I just put another black top on. But yeah, so when I do those changes in video, I don't really want to see that, you know, that jump. Yeah. So I cover it over with thingy. So to get that quick transition type thing, I just use the lights and I sped the video up. I filmed it in slow motion. Yeah. And then sped it up.
Nice. No, that's cool. I kind of figured so. I'm like, okay, they can't move that quick. It'd be like woo 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 in the tank, but that's so pretty neat.
No, they're just I think you can get them to move every hour. So whatever amount of increment, you know, whatever degree you want them to move, you can program so they can move. I think they can move a degree at a time. I can't remember, to be honest, but or I think it goes up in 2 degree increments actually. So it's 2, 4, 6, 8. 10, 12, like that. So you can, it just sort of like, you know what I mean?
Nice. Yeah, looks kind of cool.
They're cool though.
Yeah, they look neat. I'm curious how they go.
Exactly. It's different, isn't it? It's something different, and you know what it's like in this hobby is anything that's different is always a bit, ooh, you know, I don't like that. And because it is new, you know, some of the things that people are saying might be founded. You know, like some people said that, you know, salt creep might be an issue. It might be, but we've got to find out, and that's the point. That's the reason why I've got them to find that out and see where it go a bit. But
high enough off your water line, though, you don't really think it'd be much of an issue.
I won't get it.
Yeah,
I won't get it because I've got glass sliders on my tank.
Okay.
So top of my tank's completely covered and it's in a hood. I won't get it at all. But you know, there's those things where but there is like where the head meets the body, and there is like a rubber gasket there to, you know, to stop anything getting in, and all of that lot. And it, you know, it is pretty well built, to be honest.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I'm really curious to see how that progresses over time and how you like it. But that's a definitely a neat concept.
It's got, like I said, rotating head aside, you know, forget all of that. The actual light itself, bang on. You
Perfect.
Know what I mean?
Colors,
wicked,
everything
you know,
looks good.
Colors, everything. You know, the intensity. You know, if you want to start getting into the par levels, but the par levels are strong. All of that. You know, it's a good light. So just say it's just because it's brand new. You know, everything's always a bit. Ooh, it's brand new.
Ah, that's more fun. No, awesome. Should be good.
Well, good.
I know.
Some exciting times ahead.
Oh, I know. Lots of new good stuff in the works. I have another something fun soon, but you guys are gonna have to wait till Monday's video for that. I'm not spilling anything yet.
Oh, I hate it when people do that.
I know. I purposely haven't said a word yet, but
I'm gonna tell you something, but then I'm not gonna tell you at all.
It's still in the mail. What if it doesn't show up? I can't say I'm gonna do it.
I've got something good planned as well, but you're gonna have to wait for that as well.
Yeah.
Oh, I've got something good planned. You're gonna have to wait for that as well.
Everybody take her easy. No need to rush here. Oh, there's always good stuff planned.
No, but mine's big and really exciting.
Yeah. Oh, mine too. That's perfect.
That's what she said.
Mine's huge.
Extra good and extra exciting.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Do any of you guys use Social Blue Book?
I have it. Well, I don't really. It's there.
Did you realize that they also help you get affiliate jobs?
I have not. They did send some spam email today that I have not read yet. That's probably something to do with that.
That might be what. I think it's not spam. You know, they've just sent me an affiliate thing, and it's a nice little project.
Really,
it's a nice little project. You know what I mean? Yeah. So you know, if you've been fingered it as well, have a look at it.
I will read that email later. Yeah, I think I just left it there, and it's like, oh, maybe I'll look at that eventually. But good.
I didn't realize that's what they did. I didn't realize they did that. I thought it was just you know, to value your channel so that you had an understanding of how much to charge companies for videos and stuff like that. I didn't realize that they pushed, you know, jobs to you.
Huh, very cool. Did you have to apply for it, or did they just do it on their own?
What's that?
Did you have to do or apply for anything, or they just randomly contacted you?
No, just contacted me and said, you know, would you be interested in this, you know, in this relationship? So I said, well, nice. Got the details, had to look at it. I thought, yeah, it's pretty cool.
Awesome, right on. Snorkeled for the first time this winter was amazing. Aquarius Simple, snorkeling is the gateway to scuba diving eventually.
Do you know what I thought you said? Snorkeling is the gay way.
Oh.
As if
the gateway to gateway.
If you're snorkeling, you're gay. You need to get a tank on your back. said ReefDudes.
Oh, terrible, terrible, terrible.
Well, what's wrong with being gay?
What?
I'm a happy person.
I don't know.
I'm always smiling.
Oh, Michael, when are you free? Because I need to catch up with you at some point.
When what?
When are you free next? I need to catch up with you.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Okay.
After this week, I'm out. You know, I'm gone after this week.
Right. Well, give me a shout when you're available tomorrow, then, because I won't know when you're available.
I'll probably be up about 2.
Right. Okay. I'll give you a shout.
So, Exclusive Reef is asking, if I was to get ick today, how would I handle it? Honestly, I would probably do nothing. Because I think that any minor case, the fish would just resolve it on their own. I mean, they're all big, they're all healthy. I wouldn't worry about it. I would probably give them some extra food, give them some extra rations, and make sure they're extra full and happy. And it would probably go away on its own in a day or two. You won't have to worry about it. What's going on, Mr. Diving Rookie?
Hey, we're back. I'm sorry, man. My missus just literally threw up all over the ship.
Lovely.
Literally. Enjoy.
Lovely.
But we're here. Look at this.
Look at this.
Wow.
Nice.
It is beautiful. It is so blue. It is gorgeous. And I can't wait to get out on this reef. We get to go to 3 different reefs, so it should be good.
Awesome. We were joking earlier. You said you probably have like coral nippers in your pocket and you're going to come out of the water 10 pounds heavier.
I've kind of, because there's so many people around, I kind of can't hear you. That's all, man. I forgot to bring a headphones or anything like that.
No problem.
So bear with me, but it should be good. I'll make sure I get lots of footage for everyone.
Attaboy. Excellent.
Hopefully it's not dead. We'll see how we go. I've come down to Cairns, but instead of where we're staying is Port Douglas at the moment. And apparently the higher north you go, the more dead it is, like bleach-wise. So hopefully we should be good.
Awesome. It should be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's not bad living in Australia, is it?
Right. Go check on the missus anyway. I'll be listening in, man, but I better. We've just pulled up. I've got to do the first briefing and that. So
no worries.
I'll catch all you guys later. Good talking, bud.
Take care of the missus. Have lots of fun.
Yeah, I will. Take care, guys.
Later, Ricky. Living the good life, eh? Lots of perks of being in Australia. I got nothing. There's a few sunken boats in the lake. No coral. Nothing exciting.
Please, you've got the wide open spaces where you are. You've got everything.
I got lots of nice
Come to the
mountains
UK.
and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Come to the UK, you can't even walk out your front door without walking into somebody.
I'll visit there one of these days.
The only thing with Australia, everything wants to kill you.
That's true. Literally, I think that's the most venomous place in the world. Like, that has the most venomous creatures, animals, whatever, in one location, country, continent, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, it's kind of crazy. Between the spiders and scorpions and snakes, and gives that one.
I like the idea of Australia, but I don't think I'd ever choose to emigrate there.
Yeah.
Just too many things that just want to do you in.
That's fair. Oh, Dean S, if you're on the stream, thanks for subscribing, buddy. I like watching the fish jump. Makes me happy.
What's that?
When I first, originally I was in Mexico one time and I was diving through a cenote, which is like an underground cave. Or not diving, sorry, snorkeling through it. And I saw people way down below diving. And so the dive lights are cruising around. And after that I was inspired to get certified for diving. No, I love it. I don't do it nearly enough.
I've never been.
No?
No. I've done one snorkeling experience in the Sea Life Centre.
Mm-hmm.
In their big tank in a net, and to be honest, I absolutely loved it. I had like a few batfish really interested in me, and I didn't realize how big batfish were until you're right in your face.
Yeah. And
it was like, wow, all of these fish, even like tangs.
Mm-hmm.
The tangs that are swimming around, they're huge. You know what I mean? You're so used to what you see in your aquarium or other people's aquariums, but when you see them there, it's like, wow. But then, I can only imagine what it's like in the sea. A friend of mine went diving in the Red Sea, and is it a Napoleon wrasse? Is that what they're called?
I'm not sure.
Big thing, big bump on it. It looks a bit like a flower horn.
Oh, really? Huh.
So yeah, I think they're called Napoleon wrasse. Let me Google it. But yeah. something like that just swam right up at him, you know. But obviously, I'd panic because, you know, I'm safe behind the glass here. You know, I'm in their world there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the size of the thing, the way that it swam at him, and I'd be like, well, it's called a humped wrasse.
Huh.
It's also called a Napoleon fish. But yeah, it's got a big bump on its head like a flower horn.
Huh. Wow. Very cool.
It's nice, really, really big, you know, really big fish. And when it swam at him, it was like groupers as well, you know.
Oh, they're huge, aren't they?
Yeah, they could swallow you if they wanted to. Groupers. I love groupers though. I don't know what it is, but I really have a fascination with groupers. I just think they're just so cool.
You need a bigger tank, man.
To be honest, I was with this tank. I did consider is it a blue spot grouper? The red with blue spots. And Marine 23 had. I don't know if it's called a panda grouper or what, but it's black and white. And they had it for ages, you know. They had it for months and months and months.
Panther
grouper,
that's
the one.
The white with black dots?
That's the one, cool. Panther grouper. Really cool.
Enormous.
But it had such an attitude, you know. It was like a shot pet because, you know, you'd walk in and it'd look you up and down, you know. You could see its eyes rolling in the socket, looking you up and down. But it used to it'd chill out. But what it'd do, it'd put like one fin on the glass and one fin on a rock, and it'd be sort of like just chilling there like that.
Stare at you.
You know, as if it's holding the rock and the glass up. You know what I mean? And it just chilled, and I thought it was proper cool. And I got to feed it a couple of times. It was mega, and I really, really wanted it. But you know, a fish like that, you can't have anything else.
I'll tell you one we had, Michael, before we met, when we had the fish and stuff up at my unit and we were doing all the distribution, that we had a big, you know, those big grey rock vats?
Yeah.
You know, the big grey ones. Well, we used 2 of those as our sumps, and we got Dave, for some reason, they sent us this fish over. I know why they sent it, because they didn't want it in Denmark. That's why they sent it to us. I mean, they're offloading it. And it was, I think it's called a yellow-finned blue grouper. And it's a beautiful fish. It was all pale blue, like a powder blue,
nice.
With bright yellow fins all the way around. But this thing, we called it Jeff.
We called
it Jeff.
Funny.
And this thing was huge, and we had to put it in this like sump, and it was there just as a pet because nobody would take it, and we couldn't put it in with any other fish because it'd just eat it. It'd eat them. So we used to just throw it in raw prawns and whatever. But I think they grow up to about 3.5 feet, full size. But that was a beautiful fit. Like the coloration was stunning, pale like that powdery blue, tang blue, with bright yellow finnage around the outside. Really nice.
That's cool. My LFS has one of those kind of panther groupers too. Same thing. It's really cool, but I know it's probably gonna eat half my fish, so I'm like, nope.
Right, let me share I'll share my screen and let me know if this is it.
Okay.
Can I share my screen? There I can. Is that the screen I want to share? No, that one is. So, is it that one? Oh, that one.
What, the one we had?
Yeah, does it look like that?
That sort of shape, but around the fins, it had yellow as well. I think it was called like the blue and gold, or blue and yellow grouper, something like that. Let me see if I can find a picture for you.
I've just got a weird fascination with groupers, and I remember once, and I was probably seeing something that wasn't there, but I went to the Sea Life Centre, and one week I was supposed to be doing a dive, but I turned up late, so I couldn't do it. But they was dead nice, you know. They didn't say tough, you know, you turned up late. They rebooked me for a different day. And they said, you know, just go around the Sea Life Centre for free if you want, you know, and all that. Really, really good they was. And then I was going through the tunnel, and, you know, wherever I went in the, you know, when you're in the big tank, this big grouper followed me everywhere. And I was like, and I already had like a fascination with groupers anyway, because of the ones that I saw in Marine 23, the small ones. But no matter where I went in the tunnel and in this thing, the grouper followed me. So I was like, this is well cool. And then I think it was a couple of weeks later when I did the actual dive, the grouper kept coming over. But you know, because when you're on those aquariums with that bowed tunnel, it really distorts how big the fish actually are. You know, they look a lot smaller than they really are. And then when I was behind this net and the grouper come over, because it was sort of like a glass bottom with green netting around it, and he kept coming to the bottom of the cage and coming over, and I was like, this guy is proper cool, or he badly wants to eat me. But yeah, it was like, so I'm just proper fascinated with groupers.
Nice.
One day, when I'm a YouTube millionaire.
One day.
Get a grouper tank.
Giant one.
Ooh, that's
I just sent you a couple of fish, a couple of pictures.
I've just found it. I think I've just found it anyway.
So they're
just send them to Messenger to you.
Yeah, I believe it was Sabella that was breeding those Aptasia eating nudie branches. I don't know if I've never had one personally.
Burgess.
Burgess?
Is it
Burgess?
Yeah.
Burgess.
Burgess?
Begonia or something like that. You're laughing at?
You and your pronunciations.
But pronunciations. That's ironic. Don't you mean pronunciations?
Pronunciation?
Pronunciation. Is this the fish? Is this the one?
Yeah.
That's cool.
That's the one.
Nice.
That's pretty.
That doesn't look as pretty as a tang, right?
That looks prettier than a tang.
The colour's so deep, you know. If you have a look at that picture, that's the one that I've sent you. I've sent you that picture on Messenger.
Right, yeah, it's nice that.
Such a rich, vibrant colour, right?
Yeah, I'd have one of them. I'd have another fish in my tank just to have one of them. But the thing is, that's going to be
a predator tank.
That's going to be a bulldog, that thing, because even if it just swam past a colony, it'd just knock it off with a swipe of its tail, and it wouldn't even flinch or no. Yeah.
I've actually got that problem now with my bannerfish. They keep breaking my corals off the rocks, so I might have to get rid.
Yeah, the tanks do that once in a while. Especially digis, because the digis are like, you look at them funny and they break.
Yeah, I might have to take them out and wait till I get the bigger tank, and then I'll do a different scape so they can swim around without damaging stuff.
Why does Aaron's aquarium sound like he's in a bathroom? Because he's in a room that's more or less completely empty and it echoes.
AKA the bathroom with the sign in the background.
I need to work on. I've got a little DIY project that I need to work on to get rid of this echo.
What are you gonna do? Are you do little sound panels or something on the wall? Or what are you gonna do?
Yeah, I'm gonna build my own DIY sound panels.
Excellent.
Rather than buy them.
Actually, do you know what I've seen that looks really pretty good? Like if you take a canvas picture and you do like soundproofing installation inside of it, it's supposed to work and look good.
I was just thinking that.
Yeah.
You just draw a curtain behind it and that should deaden it.
Exactly. So guy's supposed to be over in a couple of minutes. Pick up the damsel. Oh, look at that!
A massive Avengers poster.
And you're putting sound installation in the back. Thanks, Patricia, for your on the
stream.
Welcome.
I can't even hear anything you're saying. Yeah, I've got this massive Avengers poster, and on the back side of this Avengers poster, I've got a bag full of old towels. I'm going to fill it in the back and just stitch a load of towels in the back and make that into a sound panel.
Perfect. That'll be excellent. Okay, I'll be back one sec. I go grab a fish. We are back.
So how many people are in the States, and how many people in the States are buying our food? I'm going to take advantage of ReefDudes live stream while he's not here. We've got a nice selection of fish foods here, if you're interested. You know, if you're looking for a good fish food, like...
Was it my curry box fish food?
Yeah, massive bag of omnivore squares. huge bag dish, and look at the size of it in comparison to me. You know, and that's what I don't actually know the price, but it's only cheap. Nothing like, you know, these in comparison to if you was buying like branded foods. God, the price difference is huge.
Have you been sent that over?
Yeah.
Are you going to be supplying it to the retailers over here or no?
No comment. What's this? Plankton, spirulina, krill flake. Plankton and
nice.
spirulina and krill. Now that there is wicked. 45% protein, 8% fat, 3% fiber, and 10% moisture. It's not bad, that, you know. There's all sorts of different stuff. Spirulina disc. The great thing about this is the spirulina is all grown in-house.
Oh, nice.
So the you know, basically the unique selling point to it is obviously a lot of fish foods have preservatives, whereas ours we use the sugars from the spirulina to preserve the food. So
that's a good idea.
Less phosphates.
Yeah.
So if anybody's interested in buying some My Aquarium Box fish food, just go over to shop.myaquariumbox.com.
No, Dave says $5 super chat if you eat some.
Spirulina is probably nice. I'll have some of that.
Yeah, try it. You're on a dare now.
No, I'm not trying it. Flipping it.
Dave Nanotank says dared you. $5 super chat. It's a dare to try some.
Don't give in to peer pressure. I'm 35. What's this? Michael, I'm in Texas and I want to try your food, but haven't yet. Planning to soon. Coolio.
Do I get a sample of it?
You can have some when you come round. Yeah, I've got loads.
Yeah, I'll try it out.
We've also got the other food as well. The Agcore food.
Oh, what's that?
This is another company that we work with, Agcore. Spirulina crumble bits that can be used in fresh and salt, high performance fish food. Do it in boxes as well.
Nice. That looks good.
44% protein, this one.
Wow.
7% fat. Bloody hell, that's high, that, isn't it? 44% protein.
Yeah, your skin is going to go crazy.
The tangs would. Imagine how fat the tangs are going to get off that. There you go. So, I will. I can't pop a link. Can I pop a link? Am I a moderator? Don't think I am. ReefDudes is going to kill me when he comes back.
just go. Welcome to Aaron's Aquarium channel. ReefDudes, welcome to the channel.
Yeah. Hey, the thing is, you know.
Can you share your screen to everybody?
Oh, I can't. I'm not a moderator.
If you could share your screen to everybody, you could like pretend you're doing an unboxing when it comes back.
I'm going to share the screen now because if I keep talking, then it'll be me that's on screen, right? So let me move everything over so that I can see what I'm doing. Is he back yet?
No.
Right, cool.
He trusts us with his live stream.
The thing is, like, you know, I'm going to be.
Oh yeah, you're on the main screen now.
Am I?
Yeah.
Where is it?
So he's left you on the main screen.
Oh, was it? Oh, that was a mistake.
So when you speak, you're on the main screen.
All right. Hi everybody, and welcome to the Aaron's Aquarium YouTube channel.
He'll be editing this one before he saves it and publishes it.
Yeah, editing me out.
Can you show us the calo light?
The what light?
The calo ray.
Oh yeah, can do if you want.
Yeah, you can show us that. Because that's a really sweet light.
It is a very nice light. I don't know what's going on with my screen. Have I shared my screen or what?
Yeah.
Have I?
Yeah, you shared your screen now.
Yeah, I have, haven't I? Cool. Yeah, so there's the website, everybody. shop.myaquariumbox.com. What have we got here? My Aquarium Box Omnivore Crumbles. Oh, sold out. Flipping out, they must have been popular. Spirulina chips, only $13.99. 100% spirulina chips. There you go. Right, I'll stop. Right, how do I stop sharing the screen? There you go.
The question is now, are we going to let Dev come back onto his own stream or not?
We'll just take over.
Quick, he's coming back. Do your unboxing, he's coming back.
Did I miss anything exciting?
Oh, it's back.
Oh, we're just about to do an unboxing.
Oh,
I'm
no.
doing an unboxing.
Just wait, Dev. We're doing an unboxing.
All right.
Oh.
All right.
A Kelleray 200. What is it? Looks like a fancy light.
You're gonna have to center the camera on me.
It's on you.
As all cameras should be.
They should just never be off of you, eh?
That doesn't sound so self-important, does it?
Not at all.
It should just so that you know, the camera should never be off me.
Of course.
So yeah, to be honest, how long have we had this now? I've had this a couple of months.
Looks pretty.
Still not out of the box. It's a nice light. I'll get it out, actually.
Wait till you see this. That is beautiful. In the States, it's available as the Cobalt. Yeah, Cobalt are branded this light.
Nice.
The box is nicely presented, you know what I mean? And then it's got a big power pack. So it comes with, I've got a bracket there to hang it, and it also comes with a wire hanging bracket. And then the light itself, it's going to look familiar to some people. Acer.
You have the same light?
Similar. It's very similar to the Kessel unit.
So I'm going to have to look at the screen because I can't even see what's going on here. So
Clevy, that's like a sexy light, right, Clevy?
That's nice, that, isn't it? It is a really nice. It's got that
rubbery.
That rubbery texture. Yeah, it's really soft and sweet. Nice. And also the great thing about it is it's got it can be controlled via an app, but you have got actual buttons. So these are touch sensitive buttons here, and it is. To be honest, I've not even switched it on. That's a light as well. That's a fill light. But it's got two dense matrix LED clusters, just like my old AO down there. That one. Oh. And it's a cool little light. It's very sleek and nice. Imagine that over a rimless, braceless tank.
It is attractive looking. It does look nice.
It is. It's really nice. I don't know how much they go for or anything. And to be honest, I don't even know what the full details are on it. Because
have you not turned it on yet? At least.
Busy?
Yeah. Busy? I guess I've had a power head on my counter for over a month now. I really got to get to.
Yeah. To be honest, I've been busy and I've got no use for it at the moment. So, when you get a new product, you're excited, aren't you? Oh yeah, I've got something new. But I'm a bit, I'm not in that position with it because I don't. Well, I do know what I'm doing with it now. I've got something planned for it, but
fair enough.
I didn't up it until recently, and now I can't get it back in the box.
So it looks like a hoverboard. That's funny in the comments. So someone just came
by.
Doesn't
it actually? It doesn't look like the hoverboard.
Back to the Future. Michael McFly.
I'll tell you what I do like. What is I like that fill-in strip.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. Okay, so I just gave away a fish, and I put it in the sub the other night. Okay. So I put it in the sump the other day because it was getting harassed and his fins are getting nipped and all that jazz. Someone could give it away. I'm like, where the heck did it go? It somehow found a way to get under my egg crate. It was underneath in like the rocks, hiding in all the marine pier and stuff. So I had to pull up my whole frag rack. I was sitting there digging around. I saw it for a sec. Also, it's hiding again. It was like hiding between the marine pier balls. It was like a ninja. Sneaky little thing.
Oh, I can't get it back in a box. How do they do? You know what? Whenever you buy something, you can never get it back in the box as they did.
So you can't return it. It's a sales strategy.
It must be because like they're just packing. They've literally got like packing Shaolin ninjas.
Exactly. All right, I do legitly probably got to shut her down soon because I go pick up the lady. So any other exciting stuff happen while I'm gone, or any other fun stuff coming up for you guys? Nothing?
Mike, what's that food stuff you've got on the shelf behind you? What's all that about?
I heard you're already selling that while I was gone.
Well,
you might as well sell me on it. Tell me more.
It just so happens that I've got a line of fish foods behind me here. I've got a line of my aquarium box fish foods if you'd like to know anything about the fish foods. Just go over to shop.myaquariumbox.com. But if you would like a little example, right here we've got the omnivore squares. These are...
I feel like this is a pre-recording. It's like so perfectly rehearsed. It's like a play button. It's like, well. the voice changes, the tone changes. It's like, boom, and on. You, sir, have a good YouTube personality right there with an on switch, like instant on.
Never want to miss an advertisement opportunity.
What are you using for preservative? What are you using for preservative in that food?
Well, Nicholas, I'm glad you asked me that because our food has a very unique selling point because we don't use all sorts of different things to try and preserve our foods.
Wow, tell me more.
Actually use, we grow our own spirulina and we use the sugars from the spirulina to preserve our food, so there's a lot less phosphates in our foods. Now, as I said before, if you'd like to check out our foods, all you've got to do is go over to shop.myaquariumbox.com.
So you grow your own spirulina,
That's a good idea. So do you do other ranges, Michael?
Right?
Hey Nick, I'll give you your 50 quid when you come round.
Yeah. Perfectly executed timing.
Exclusive reef, that light is called the Kello Ray AE200. I've got no clue where you can get it from because I know you can't get it in the UK. I don't think it's not available. Well, it's available in the States, I think, under the Cobalt name. So
yeah,
I don't know what Cobalt
at Macna.
Is it? Yeah.
Yeah,
I think it's available in the. Yeah, I think it's available in the UK under the What's it called?
Aquamedic. Yeah, shortly.
All right, Cobalt Roof Light. Yep, looks about right.
I think you ought to mail that one to Dev now.
What's that?
What's that?
I think Michael ought to mail it to Dev now, that light.
Sounds reasonable.
If I didn't have anything, to be honest, if I didn't have any plans for it, I'd give it away. But I do have plans for it.
Another tank? Tell us more.
Oh, yes. Another tank.
Excellent.
Oh, yes.
You got all that room in the studio now. You got to fill it with something.
Well, all that there, now that I've done the Focustronic video, all those boxes can come up there. I just need to do the video on the Kello Ray.
Yeah.
And then all the table there is going to have tanks on it. And then these little squares down here are going to have nanos in them.
Nice. You should do one tall, skinny tank, just a whole wall, just big tank.
What there?
Yeah,
over there in the corner.
Be great. It would be pretty cool.
I want to do some things. I've got to be honest, it's dead weird that, you know, when I sort of like announced that I was going full time with YouTube, I've actually been approached more, which is good, you know. Nice. So yeah,
That's awesome.
Michael, were you a driver? You were in the wrong profession. Haha, you should be in sales. Why, thank you. I've always thought I'd be a good salesman.
There you go. I almost want the food now. I have no idea what it is. And
well, you don't know what it is. I don't want to leave you wanting, you know what I mean? I want to make sure that you know exactly what it is.
No, I'm just bugging.
Hey, Michael, I'd like to see you try that on Rico's stream when he gets back.
Rico would love it. Rico would love it. You know he would. He'd love it.
Oh, he'd be like, "What the hell, man? What's going on?"
We'll do it.
Where's my samples? Where's my sample food?
We could go on with me, you, and Dev already fully prepped an arm to hijack his thread.
Oh, that's great.
Steven just said, remember when Jake Adams made fun of the RFG? Now he has published an article about it.
Yeah.
Did he make fun of it?
I don't know.
Kind of did, in a way, because he didn't know what it was.
I don't remember.
He's yet to actually try it yet, so in there it was saying, like, although it'll do this and although it'll do that, and I'm thinking, hang on a minute, you haven't even tried it. You're just surmising that because of what other products similar to what that looks like does.
Wait.
Well,
56% protein in this one. 56
percentile.
56. Honestly,
wait,
if you feed your fish this one,
there's a
your
whole
fish
chicken
are going to
in
be
every
stacked.
Wait, is he?
Do you know, to be honest,
Did you make it?
Eating chicken?
Is he making his own fish food now? Is Michael making his own fish food?
With chicken?
Oh, yes. with
56% protein.
This one's actually krill.
Krill? Yeah. Excellent.
56% of protein, 3% fat, 8% fiber, and only 9% moisture.
Only?
Only?
Wow. I don't know what that means, but okay. Only sounds makes it look lower than normal, or I don't know.
Well, if you think about it, right, you know, when you're talking about the current salts, so a lot of the salts are using the saline fat at the dry. So these, you know, because at the end of the day, you don't want to pay for water, do you? You want to pay for what you're paying for. So the least amount of moisture in salt, food, whatever, means you're getting more of a product and not water.
It's more like with the contaminants as well, because what you get is waterborne contaminants. So if your food's got less water, then there's less chance for other contaminants, like unknown contaminants, to be in there, which is always a good thing as well.
And you get more bang for your buck as well, don't you? What's it, steeing?
Exactly.
Steeing.
More bang for your buck.
I love steeing, Rick. I love to meet steeing one day. I think he'd just literally just be a proper. Yeah, I think he'd just be a proper awesome to meet.
Ouch, Ed. That sucks. 15 fish died. Eek.
Oh yeah, Simo,
Hey,
I got a message from your wife to send you more videos of my bannerfish. She said that you've been trying to talk her out of getting them or something.
What? Man, forget about the bannerfish. The random flow generators. How many of them are on the market? Because I only know of the Innovative Marine one. Are there other companies that are making them other than Vivid and the Innovative Marine?
There's
you've got that boost one, haven't you? What's that called?
The inductor.
Flow accelerator.
That's the one, flow accelerator.
In terms of random flow generators, in terms of something you can randomize your flow pattern, the inductors basically enhance the power, if you like, because they use induction to provide more volume, but it's not a randomized
I've used those.
flow.
I've used those. It's just basically almost like, you know, like it somehow does something where the water shoots out more.
Yeah.
But it doesn't randomize the flow.
No, with the randomized flow, Hypo did one called the Hypo Flow, FLO. Innovative Marine do the spin streams, which is mechanical gearing. And then there was another one by your favorite company, Vertex. And Vertex do a programmable digital oscillating return motorized outlet, which is called I think it was called the Move.
Not on the market anymore?
I'm not sure. I did sell quite a few of them before, but they're not cheap. That's the thing. But they were good because they were programmable, so you could program the oscillation and the angle that it oscillated. So I had a lot of customers that really liked it.
And I guess for bigger tanks, you have the Sea Sweep or Sea Swirls or something like that?
Yeah, you got the Sea Swirls. But yeah, apart from those, there's nothing really, I think, made the way that the RFGs are because there's no moving parts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's
so
the unique thing.
I have experience with the Sea Swirls. I mean, I never used it for any length of time because it was so big. The innovative marine ones are just terrible. I think I saw Narcosis put out a video where I had 2 fail within 3 months.
Right.
So on those, because I actually had them for a while. I had 2 of them when I said my 30-gallon. And actually, it worked pretty well, but once in a while it jammed. You'd have to take it out and give it a couple smacks, then it would work again, or give it a vinegar bath or whatever. But
yeah.
I did, and after a while it stopped working. And the thing is, once you open it to clean it, it's over.
Oh, really?
Done. Yeah, you can never put it back together. So mine worked for 2 months, and then it got to the point where it's jamming every week.
Really?
Vinegar soap would fix it. Yep. Then I got another one, and the same thing happened. And again, once you get to the point where you try to even open it to clean it, it's over because you can't put it back together.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, you don't have that with the RFGs because it's a one-piece solid printed unit. So I cleaned mine the other day, and literally all I did was take it off, run it underneath the tap, and I just used one of those like bristle pipe cleaning brushes, and just put that down it a few times, rinsed it off, and put it back. And it took me all of 2 minutes to clean it, and that was
so
it.
I put it off. I put it on the tank today,
right?
Nano, and I like it. I think because of my aquascape.
Yeah.
If I was using just a random flow generator only, and I had built the aquascape around it, I probably could have gotten away with just a random flow generator with corals and rockwork positioned properly. But
and no circulation pump.
No circulation pump. But the way I've done it, I need a pump.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Do you guys really get that much flow out of them?
Yeah, with the upgraded pump, though. I have the Innovative Marine 14-gallon Peninsula, and the stock pump, no.
Okay.
But I upgraded to the Jabo pump. So with a stronger pump, yes.
Okay.
And by the way, with the Spin Stream, the Innovative Marine Spin Stream, you needed a stronger pump anyway because, you know, the stock pump
it had to
wouldn't
push
be able
the
to.
mechanics. Yeah.
Yes.
I've got the random flow generator on my tank, and you know I'm running the Jabo JCOD, whatever you call it, DCT 12,000 on mine, and I'm probably running it on 6. Well, I'm 50% basically, and the flow that I get from it, you know, because it's directly pointing at my acros, and the polyp, you know, the way the polyps move and everything on the acros is brilliant, you know, and that is just with that one, you know, I'm getting good flow, and because it's not constantly just barraging them, and you know the polyps are not just going one way all the time, you know, you can see them naturally move around, and all that's cool. The other day I forgot I turned the gyro off while I was feeding, and because I was messing as well, I unplugged it rather than put it in feed mode because I knew it had come on halfway through, you know, while I was messing, and I forgot to turn it back on, so it was off more or less all day and all night, and everything was wicked, you know, everything, you know, the polyps were longer, you know, because it was not getting like proper barrage by the gyro, and it looked quite good, but you know, it's not strong enough to lift anything off the bottom, you know. But it's good enough to definitely, you know, cycle my tank around.
And you're using it on your big
experience.
tank?
What's this?
And you're using on your large tank, or which?
Yeah, on the big tank.
Okay.
And obviously my big tank's it's peninsular as well, isn't it?
This
So
is-
it's literally pointing all the way down.
This is what I've been actually really curious about, right? Because I think it'd be awesome in a nano, but I've always been curious to see how it would do on a really long tank. And yours is similar, so that's actually good to hear.
I had the
Well,
same
the other thing as well,
Michael
Dev, is
had.
that on Michael's tank, it's just got the 1 3/4 inch one, right? And obviously they do an inch one. But then what I'm going to get organised for you, Dev, is I'll send you the new Y upgrade kit. So you'll get 2 3/4 inch ones run off the same outlet.
Okay.
So if I got one of those to Michael, he'd have 2 outlets. So he could really crank up the pump.
Yep.
And then that would give him more turbulence, you know, through the 2, because he's only got 1.
Yep.
So
sorry, just to interrupt you a second. I heard, I've got Beats headphones on, so Apple product and all that bit crap. But I heard if I don't know if I heard that right. I think I heard if I get one of those to Michael. No.
Yeah, if.
Was it if or was it not when?
If we'll have to discuss terms on promotional video length. There's a few terms to agree first. we're all about contracts.
So Nick, I have 2 half-inch ones on the Red Sea, the 4-foot tank, and I had a similar experience to Michael yesterday, where trying to catch this damn hawkfish, we turned off the gyres, and we went like all night last night without turning the gyre back on, and I said to my wife, "Hey, you forgot to turn the gyre on." She saw the corals moving, so she thought it was like the gyre moving the water. So I just have it coming out the Red Sea reefer, and one going to the left, one going to the right, a couple inches below the water surface. And you're right. It wouldn't lift anything off the substrate, but just for flow, enough for just coral health, it's fine.
But you find as well, if you replace that pump for a bigger pump, and you had the 3/4 inch ones on there, and you push more flow through them, then you probably would get that.
You know what?
Because the return pumps aren't designed for that. That's why we've got the circulation pumps. But now we've got something that can do that, so we have to upgrade the return pump to maximize the potential of the RFGs, which is weird. But I mean, this is the thing for Dev, for him to try, and Michael as well when they get theirs, is that
when
is that you're going to be able to ramp up your returns. Now, if you think about it, your skimmer pulls out your skimmer pulls out your sump at 1,000 liters an hour. So the more times you can circulate your water through the sump, the more chance it's got to go through the skimmer, through your filter sots, through everything else. So is the flow going around better to be higher and do something like the random flow generator than to use a circulation pump and have a slower circular flow?
I don't know. Okay, this is going to be a whole nother live stream now. So do you actually think it's better to have higher flow in your sump, or do you think it's better to have lower flow through your sump and kind of let your skimmer have more dwell time with that water? Or should you try and match the two? I mean, there's a lot of different things at play, so I'm actually kind of... In the old days, we used to talk about contact time, slow turnover flow. The reason for that was because we were using refugiums, deep sand beds, miracle mud systems, which need dwell time. Our skimmers weren't as efficient as they are now back then. Very inefficient skimmers. Better than what we had, because before that we had nothing. So we were very slow contact time. But if you look at Triton, for example, now, they recommend a turnover of 10 times turnover, where we were running 3 to 5 times turnover in the old days. So when you think about that, 10 times turnover. So if you've got what's your literage, Michael, on yours?
Now?
It's about 1,000 litres.
It's 1,000 after displacement, yeah.
Right, so 1,000 litres. So you've got a 10,000 litre return pump, right? And you're running at, 6 to 8,000 litres? So you could crank that to maximum, and you're going to get an extra 4 times turnover through your sump. So that's your water in your display being put through your sump an extra 4 times. So all that floating particles and all of that that's in your display is going to go into your sump more often to allow the skimmer then to have another chance at taking it out, another chance at taking it out, 4 times more. So that's why it changed from old school contact time, sand beds, miracle mud, that type of method, to now 10 times turnover for getting the bits through to the more efficient skimmers that are pulling more out of the water as they do so. But you're right, Devin, what you were saying. But that's kind of, I think, outdated now.
Okay,
but it was right at one.
This made me
one
laugh.
time.
After see, someone in the comment goes, "How old is he when he means the old days?"
Oh, I'm 46 years old.
All right. How long have you been reefing, Nick?
Since I was about 12 or 13.
All right, so good 30 years of reefing.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
And before that, I was into tropicals from about the age of 8 or 9.
Nice.
I used to go down to the really old school fish shops with my dad, looking at pretty fish and, you know, buying them for the tank when I was probably 8 or 9 years old.
Nice.
So when I started off reefing, we had under gravel filters, no skimmers, crappy heaters, ocean rock. We didn't use live rock. We used gravel. We didn't have sand.
Do you want me to go buy groceries with you tomorrow?
Hey, so Nick, I think I have a return pump that's almost 4,000 gallons an hour. I do have a manifold, but I can shut the manifold stuff off, and then I could, probably I'll run an experiment for part of the day tomorrow where with the return pump, just the random flow generators, and see how the corals do, see how the tank, see what kind of flow I get. With
Test
just
it, blast it, really ramp it up beyond its capability and see where that cutoff point is. Because obviously, if you've got the 1/2-inch ones, there'll be a point where you'd be better with the 3/4-inch ones at a certain point.
I'm not even.
And then even with those, you'll reach a point where you'd be better off with the inch ones, as you go up the flow generation. But yeah, see where the cutoff point is with the 1/2-inch one. See what they can really do.
Well, the plumbing on the Red Sea is only 1/2 inch, so I'll see.
That's going to restrict you a bit as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but like I said, I have a return pump that's rated for a lot more. I did oversize it to tune it down. So I'll do it tomorrow.
All you'll get is if the pump starts to hum a bit, then you know that you're getting back pressure because the pump's trying to push more water than the pipe work diameter will allow to go through. And all that will cause is a little bit of back pressure. So if you knock it down till you get to that sweet spot where you're not getting vibration through your pump, that's when you're reaching that kind of, nominal pressure. But yeah, what I'm going to do is on my 7.5...
I'll test it out.
What I'm going to do is on my 7.5-foot office tank, I need to get that drilled. So I'm going to drill it for just using RFGs. And just to see if I can get away with just using RFGs and no circulation pumps.
If you have a bunch of them.
On a 7-footer. Yeah, and see what we can do with that.
But yeah,
so
I'm really curious with the length to see how that works out. So that'll be good. All right, kids. I do got to shut her down though. I think it's been a couple hours. So I got to go pick her up in a couple things. But thanks.
No worries, Dev.
Thanks as always, everyone that jumped on today.
No, it was a pleasure. It was a good one. Good stream again.
No, definitely. Okay. All right, guys. Have an excellent evening.
Don't forget
take care, guys.
Don't forget to check out my aquarium box for
And there's that play button again. All right, guys. If you enjoyed it, hit that thumbs up button. If you liked it, like it. And otherwise, I'll see you guys in the next video.